We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you on a Wednesday afternoon. A lot to get to over the next 3 hours. Johnny Hill producing for us today as always. And like I said, a lot to get to today. Grizzlies lose another one on the road last night in L.A. We got to talk more about the Tigers and their big game this weekend against SMU. Going to talk some basketball, going to talk some national college football, some NFL. Got a lot to get to today. But Brett, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well, Bryant. How much of the Grizzlies game did you stay up for? Did you stay up for when the clock hit zero?
You know, I stayed up for the entire game. I have a buddy, the same buddy
I knew you would.
that made us leave the Tigers game early. He does not get Bally Sports on whatever television package he has. Wherever he doesn't get the Bally Sports.
All right, tell me
channels.
how he let you down this time.
No, he didn't let me down.
Oh, good.
It was like the fourth quarter, and I was like, I got to be up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I think I'm going to check out and go to bed. And he was like, no, we can't go to bed yet.
It felt like 2 o'clock at that point.
It felt so late. And he was like, no, we got to watch the entire game because I can't watch it unless I'm here. And I was like, fine, whatever. So we watched the entire game. He said, it'll get better because at this point, the Grizzlies had made it like an 18-point game. He was like, they're coming back. And I was like, no, they're not. They're not coming back. No. And sure enough, they did not. It was an ugly game, but yeah, I watched the entire thing. How long did you get?
I don't really know. It was at some point that it was. It's
one of those.
I felt like games. I was hallucinating, and it was so bad. And
I wish you were hallucinating.
It was, in many ways, the worst game of the year.
Yeah.
Because now more injury, more questions, more uncertainty. And there's just a whole lot of year left. There's a lot of time left before Jaws return.
Yeah. What are we down on the counter to? 15 games? Is that right?
2-9 after 25-14.
Yeah, 14 games. Okay, so, 14 games. That's a lot of games with what? How many games have they played? You said 11 games? 9-2 or 2-9?
2-9.
This 11 games has felt like it's been about 50. And so, who knows what's in store for the next 14.
3 weeks ago today was opening day.
Feels like a lot longer. It's been that type of start of the year. It's been a painful start.
That has been painful. I would have never believed this. I thought, okay, I could see some stumbling start.
Struggle a little, yeah.
I was thinking at this point, okay, 5-6, 6-5, something like that. But never did I imagine this. And I'm afraid we've got a long path ahead.
Yeah, it could get really ugly and
uglier.
Ugly, yeah, it's already ugly. That's a good point. It could get uglier, and with the injuries, they continue to stack up. It seems like when you start getting healthy, more guys get injured. And last night it was Marcus Smart, it was Luke Kennard again, and now they've already said Jake LaRavia. They've called him back up to the Grizzlies. He just played earlier today. The Hustle played the Oklahoma City Blue earlier today, lost by 2. But Jake LaRavia had 31 points, but 3 for 7 from 3, and everyone talks about that 3-point shot from him. I just don't know if you're gonna get that, and so you're right. It could get much uglier, and with 14 games left, that could feel like 50 games.
He's symbolic of the questions going forward for the Grizzlies. Because if he's at all an answer, you got too many questions.
Yeah, no. He's not. It doesn't seem like he is going to be an answer for really any of your issues right now. And really, I go back to what we've been saying for a while now. It seems like we've played this game with Jake LaRavia before, where send him down to the G League. He has some good games. Everyone gets excited again for what he could do. You bring him back up, and he doesn't do anything for the Grizzlies. And I saw him earlier this season before the G League season started, and he wasn't even getting looked to on the bench. There were some games that the Grizzlies were struggling, and they could use a shooter. They could use a guy out there to try to knock down shots, and he was getting 9 minutes a game, 7 minutes a game. They just weren't looking his direction, and now they're going to have to look in his direction because you're getting awfully thin.
Never mind like we do for college football and even attempt to do for a Tiger basketball schedule. We never go the full 82.
Right.
There's no way to. Brian, if we just had to do it for the next 4, 2 at home, 2 on the road, starting with Saturday at San Antonio, home against Boston on Sunday afternoon, so a back-to-back, a week from tonight at Houston, and then the Friday night after Thanksgiving at home at FedEx Forum against Phoenix. The possibilities are the 2 roadies.
Man, isn't that crazy?
And with loss to Boston and loss to Phoenix, just over these next 4, that's over at home to start the year.
Yeah. I mean, they just can't get anything going at home. And like you said, I mean, 2 extremely tough opponents in the next 2. And those road
Never
games
mind going
either.
10 out and 15 and 20
4.
out. Just 4 is super daunting.
Yeah. Brett, I saw this. I want to point this out when we're talking about roster and injuries and everything that's going on. DeMichael Cole had a tweet about 15 minutes or so ago. DeMichael joins us every Monday afternoon to talk Grizzlies, and he had the Grizzlies 16-man roster minus the 2-way contract. So guards, Morant, Rose, Smart, Bang, Kennard. Wings, Williams, Roddy, Laravia, Conchar. Biggs, Jackson, Aldama, Tillman, Biombo, Clark, Adams, and Lofton. Out of all of those players, I just named 16 of them, 16-man roster. 1, 2, 3, 4 have been healthy or active for all 11 games to start the season.
Well, right there is the answer of any consideration given to firing Taylor Jenkins. I just don't think anything approaching a fair-minded world could you fire somebody facing that much adversity.
4 players have been active and healthy for the entire start of the season.
I don't want anybody hurt. The Grizzlies can't take much more. But really, one more significant injury insulates Taylor Jenkins. There's no way you could fire him.
I mean, it would seem like it. Those 4 players, by the way, that have been healthy: Desmond Bane, David Roddy, Jaren Jackson, and Kenny Lofton. Those are the only 4 guys that have been healthy for all 11 games. I mean, it's just been that type of year, and it seems like we talk about it after every game. After every time we get a new status report, it's, oh, okay, X player is back on the injury list. Oh, X player is now on the list, and we can't get healthy. It seems like 1 gets healthy and 2 more get injured, and that's kind of what happened last night when you lost both Kennard and Marcus Smart with injuries. And for Marcus Smart, it looks like it could be a couple of games for him.
How much college basketball did you watch last night?
I watched a lot of the Champions Classic.
I did too.
And I was peeking in on the Marquette game, and then I was peeking in on the Creighton game. But those were really kind of the only ones I watched last night.
Yeah, kind of trying to keep up with it all, but primarily on the 2 games in Chicago. Yeah. And for the life of me, I still can't figure out why in the Kentucky game that Dillingham did not have a shot, did not attempt a field goal over the last 17 minutes of the game, and why DJ Wagner played significantly more time than Dillingham.
Yeah, DJ Wagner 1 for 12, and part of that,
and just kept jacking.
And it just kept jacking. Now, I will say this, and I said this with John earlier. I mean, 1 for 12 is not good. 0 for 3 from 3 is not good. Only 4 points is not good, but the way he moves around out there, I mean, he's
okay. He moves good.
He moves well.
That's great.
But
I need the ball going through the basket.
That's a good point.
Orange ball through orange goal.
That's the rules, Brett. I mean, that's how the game works. But no, I mean, Dillingham. Part of that was fouling, fouled out late in the game. But still, you're right. I mean, you would think you would continue to go to him. Such a great game for him.
16:52 mark was his last field goal.
That's crazy. I mean, that's insane. You got to keep going to him. And it seemed like there, around that point in the second half, a little bit later.
He didn't foul out with 16 minutes to go.
No, he did not. It was way later in the game. But I mean, it looked like Kentucky got on a little bit of a run there, had the lead before Kansas came back and won that game. That game was fun. I mean, both of those teams I thought were really fun to watch, and that
was in kind of a little scrappy, plucky little moral victory for Big Blue, wasn't it? For Kentucky. I mean, you see their fans and some of the response, hey, way to go.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't know Kentucky played for that.
I didn't either. But I did. I told John earlier today, I said, I feel like tomatoes are about to be hurled at me, but this Kentucky team's kind of fun to watch. I mean, I enjoyed watching them last night.
I did too, but I enjoyed watching Kansas more.
Well, no, I did that.
But Bill Self in a close game down the stretch against Cal, and we kind of showed me something. I wish I could be loved as much as Cal loves the Wagner family.
He does love the Wagners.
And I don't need anybody to say that makes him feel old that Wani's got a son playing college basketball, or that Jeff Shepard's got a son playing college basketball. For me, it's Milt Wagner's got a grandson playing college basketball.
Yep. DJ, and like you said, not a great performance from here. Shepard had a good game off the bench as well, though. It was really him and Dillingham off the bench. And I saw a lot of people
Shepard
saying
is fun to watch. Dillingham's fun to watch. Dillingham first half, heat check city.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, went on kind of that little stretch where, he was knocking down everything, and they were going to him often. And then, like you said, didn't take a single shot with the last 17 minutes, you said? That's ridiculous. But no, and not a lot of size for Kentucky. They're missing a lot of their big men. And so really kind of undermanned rebound-wise. But I thought Adu Thiero had a really good game rebounding, about 6'8", small forward. I thought he played really well, finished with 16 points, 13 rebounds. But on the other side, what Dickinson did last night, 27 points, 21 rebounds. He's a grown man down there.
He is, and Kansas had a good strategy, feed him.
Yeah, and it worked, and they were forcing. You mentioned it earlier, kind of the shooting woes for Kentucky. Took 38 3-pointers in that game last night, and it really seemed like Kansas was kind of daring them to take the three ball. They were leaving a lot of guys open, letting them shoot. Antonio Reeves had 17 3-point attempts last night in that game, which is way too many. But they were just kind of daring them to shoot the three, and it wasn't falling for Kentucky and
Kentucky
Kansas.
took the bait.
Victory. Yeah, they sure did. They were chunking them. They were letting them.
It was almost like all those times Tony Allen almost had that look on his face of, look how wide open I am.
I'm going to shoot it.
There's a reason, Tony. The other team's begging you to shoot.
Yeah, they're begging them. But no, I thought that was the fun game of the night between those two big time games. But
any big outrage from the Tuesday night reveal from the college football playoff?
No.
Me either. No outrage.
I'm glad Georgia's number one. I think they deserve that. But other than that, whatever. It's doesn't really faze me any.
We've always had a playoff in college football. Yep. We just never had a big bracket. Now next year we're going to have a big bracket. Now we have 4, but all this will sort it out.
Yeah. And have you seen any on social media or anything outrage after this one? I'm waiting for it hasn't seemed like we haven't gotten much outrage this year.
I want to say my Bama friends are just this shy of outrage alert.
Okay.
I think they are, and just like last year. First of all, last year was 2 losses.
Sure.
Two, not one, but 2.
Yep, 2. Dose.
But last year, any conversation, as long as Tennessee had 2 or less wins, what happened on the field in Neyland takes precedent.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, on the field against Texas at Bryant-Denny, in a 10-point game that felt like 20, but I'll just go with the final result.
Sure.
It was 10. That makes Texas better. That makes Texas have priority.
Yeah, it does. How the cookie crumbles. What we say, we had this conversation yesterday, Brett. The head-to-head has to mean something,
doesn't it? It should, and I think it will. And there's even a chance for a one-loss SEC champion being Alabama, and the SEC not having a representative in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And if it falls out that way, that's the way it falls.
Sure.
If it falls out 2 from the Big Ten, that's the way it falls. Sure. And if it shook out 3 from the Pac-12, then that's how it happens. We knew when the college football playoff was drawn up, 4 spots, 5 power conferences.
Yep.
Somebody's being left out.
Someone's going to be left out.
At least one.
Yeah.
At least one, and often it's been more than that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we ever have needed a fixed number. No, you can't have more than one. No. If it falls that way, or if it falls 0, that's the breaks.
That's right. And Brett, let's be honest. I mean, no matter how the cookie crumbles at the end, we're all going to watch these playoff games, and we're all going to be entertained by what's going on in them.
And my position, here's what's really unique about my position. It hadn't changed whether the SEC is going to get 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or if they get 0. The best go.
That's right.
And not everybody's position's always been that.
No, far from it, I would think, for a lot of people. But no, I didn't have much outrage at all about the reveal last night. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Richard Cross from Sports Talk Mississippi. He's going to join us. He's also an ESPN announcer for AAC football. He's been on a ton of American Athletic Conference games, including this past weekend, Memphis versus Charlotte. So he's going to join us, talk about what he saw in that game from the Tigers, the road ahead for the Tigers as their big game this weekend, and they're looking to make that AAC championship game. 3:45, we'll get back into the conversation about the Grizzlies and their loss last night to the Lakers, a lopsided loss to the Lakers. 4 o'clock, David Cohn, the co-host of Crane & Company, will join us to talk college football. We got to talk a ton of everything that's really going down across the country in college football. We'll also have to get his thoughts on the suspension for Jim Harbaugh, as that's his alum at Michigan's where he played. So we'll get his thoughts on that decision that came down last Friday. 4:30, we'll take a look at the college football and NFL lines for this weekend. 4:45, we get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Kevin Sweeney, CBB_Central on Twitter, also at Sports Illustrated, will join us to talk college basketball. At 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. The Overstock Sale. Family Leisure needs your help to clear out their overstock inventory. Select patio sets up to 50% off. Play gyms under $2,000. Extended sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. Their winter pool closing items now up to 30% off. Family Leisure also has pool tables and game room items up to $700 off of those in-stock items. And they've got you covered for saunas, massage chairs, arcades, and theater seating, all with free delivery and that special financing. It's still available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
Our producer is Johnny Hill. We're Sports Time with Bryant Dacus and Brett Norsworthy, and we're with you until 6 o'clock, and you can join our show by calling or texting 901-360-8255. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all the remaining 2023s as the 2024s are taking over, but always special leasing options. Happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving from the one and only Lexus dealership in town. You can call them at 901-334-9673. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 or 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking, but better than that, you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is the Grizzlies game last night, a 134-107 loss against the Los Angeles Lakers. They fall to 2-9 on the season. The Lakers improve to 6-5, and really, I mean, when you look at what happened in that game, it was the three-point shooting. The Lakers, on 35 three-point attempts, shot 62.9%. Everyone was getting involved. D'Angelo Russell, 6 for 8 from 3. LeBron James, 3 for 6. Cam Reddish, 3 for 5. Those were the guys in the starting lineup. Brett, your favorite, Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves, both perfect from 3 last night. Hachimura, 3 for 3 from 3, and Austin Reeves, 4 for 4 from behind the arc. And, I mean, just a rough game for the Grizzlies. And I've seen some people point it out on social media, and I'm starting to notice it in games, but you're seeing the Grizzlies defensively. A lot of people are asking, what is the problem with this team? It seems like every opponent they play is having the 3-point shooting night of their lives. And what I'm noticing is a lot of times the Grizzlies, they're not switching on screens, and they're going under the pick, kind of leaving that shooter wide open instead of going over and trying to get them, funnel them into the paint where you've got Jaren and now Bismack Biyombo down there. And so they're leaving a lot of guys open. They're overcommitting at times and leaving open shooters in the corners, and other teams are knocking down those open shots. But when you look at the Grizzlies, it really became late in the second quarter, early in the third quarter, it became the Grizzlies just trying to chase the Lakers with threes. It feels like we've said that game after game. They're just chasing
vicious
threes.
cycle.
And last night, 53 3-point attempts for the Grizzlies. That's way too many for this Grizzlies team. The shot just went falling. It was really a bad night all around. Then you add in Marcus Smart getting injured early in that game. Luke Kennard also getting injured in that game, and it just was not a good performance at all. It was very brutal last night in LA for the Grizzlies.
It was, and on the last Grizzlies lead, only led twice, 3-zip, and I think the last lead was 6-5.
Wow. That's incredible.
All night long. All night long. That's Lionel Richie. He lives there at LA Country Club. He could be singing the song. My top story, is this the lowest point in Grizzlies history? I know there have been worse starts, but we could be toting up in a few games after 25, after 30, and we could be there. Blasted by the Lakers to fall to 2-9. Blasted again by the Lakers. Remember that playoff exit? That was one more disaster. That was by 40 in the first round. But I think I led the siren song on this one. But we'll get them next year. We're young, got a superstar, got a whiz kid front office. They all went to the right schools, got a solid coach. I think I said all that last April. Things have drastically changed. Now this, and it's going, I'm afraid, to get a lot worse. This was supposed to be the prime years for the Grizzlies. Really, the end of 22 and the end of 23, 24, 25, that was a year that we were thinking NBA Finals, win it all, parade.
Yeah.
Oh, that seems like just foolish thinking now. There's a lot of ways for things to come undone, and they usually happen quickly. And this one, it has. I know it. I know it's going to be a big, robust, 901 welcome back the night that Ja returns. It should be. It should be. You got to support your team. But that night when you're doing that, when it's that big 2-minute standing O for him, he's going to be standing out there, one of the primary people responsible for this start.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day is the night of college basketball that we had last night. A little overshadowed by the Grizzlies game. Now, that game was a late night game, so hopefully everybody was able to watch at least the early games before that late night. I thought it was a really, really fun night of basketball. It started off up in Chicago with the State Farm Champions Classic. Duke gets a 74-65 win over Michigan State. That was a fun game, a little bit slower, I thought, than the Kentucky-Kansas game that followed an 89-84 win by Kansas, and I thought was a really fun game. I think both these teams are fun to watch, and Kansas really has some playmakers. They're older, they're more physical. They had bigger guys in the paint to combat kind of the size mismatch against Kentucky. But some other games that really caught my eye: Marquette with a win on the road against a ranked Illinois team, a 71-64 win for Marquette. I thought Marquette looked really, really good last night. Tennessee gets a big win over Wofford. Creighton gets a win over Iowa. And for the Tigers, their, I guess, new conference foe, Florida Atlantic, with a 100-57 win over Eastern Michigan. So I thought it was a really fun night of college basketball last night. Not a great night tonight, but it'll start improving as we get closer to the weekend.
Did you catch the theme during the broadcast last night about Jay Billis and any conversation, any commentary about Kyle Filipowski? Did you notice it?
I noticed a little bit of it.
What do you think the thread was? What do you think he was stressing that how Kyle Filipowski would play this year physically? That he's going to be physical. That he's going to be rough. He's going to be brawny. Wait a second, Jay. Wait a second. when Tennessee was rough and tumble against him,
Yeah.
you all but declared it unfair.
Yeah. Well, no fouls being called. They were too rough. Yeah, I remember that.
Too rough for.
That.
Did you catch that central theme of Billis last night about him?
Now that you bring it up, he did talk about it a lot.
All night. That's all he was talking about, and he didn't like it when he got it from Tennessee back in the tournament. My not top story: Georgia, the new number one in the CFP poll. No surprise there, and they're deserving. Most of this all of this will play out. Georgia at Tennessee, and then at Georgia Tech, and then the SEC championship game against Bama. Ohio State and Michigan sorts out a lot. FSU, they've got to win out. If they remain undefeated, I think they'll punch a ticket as undefeated ACC champions. Washington and Oregon will probably rematch. Texas has been wobbly, but they can't lose. If they win out, I think they will should have dibs over Alabama. We all look forward to next year and the promise of hope for a lot of teams. But last weekend, I saw in person the difference between 2 and 9. Now, this week, that's the difference between 1 and 13. It's going to be so much fun to say we went to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. How much fun through the years will it be watching that 5 versus 12 and 6 versus 11, and even in that next round, 1 pounding 8, because we've seen these blowouts just with 4 teams. I hope that satisfies people. I think through the years, they won't be as satisfied as they think they are.
It's an interesting take. John had kind of a similar take earlier, talking about how teams are ranked and how the 12-team playoff will affect teams and how they're ranked, and how some of these regular season games might not matter as much, and conference championships might not matter as much when you have a 12-team playoff rather than a 4-team playoff.
It may not matter as much, but it will matter for seeding.
Oh, absolutely. And I think his biggest point was when you look at it this year and you look at a team like Missouri, or he said the big game, Ohio State and Michigan, that right now it might be a playoff game. I mean, the team that loses might not make that 4-team playoff, but next year they're if they're both that high, they're going to make it. So it's interesting. I mean, it's going to be a completely different world, really, in college football next season when we have a 12-team playoff. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break of the day. When we come back, we'll talk Tiger football with Richard Cross. That's next on Sports Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Want to play a private country club but only pay daily greens fees? Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis is your place. You can now play a beautiful, challenging course for only $59 plus tax, including carts. Meadowbrook Country Club features champion Bermuda greens and now is available to everyone. A membership is only $350 per month and includes tennis, pickleball, and swimming, plus a great restaurant and bar. Golf Pro Mark can even fix you up with custom-made tricks on clubs. Call 870-394-4186 today for your Tuesday through Sunday tee time at Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Fall is in the air, and so are Choate's Early Bird Specials. Right now, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier gas furnace. Carrier furnaces come with some of the best warranties in the industry, and Choate's has been professionally installing them for over 60 years. As a Carrier factory authorized dealer, Choate's also offers competitive financing solutions for you and your family. If your heating system is in good shape, make sure you take advantage of Choate's Early Bird Tune-Up Special for $60. This tune-up is an in-depth 20-point inspection to make sure your furnace is ready for the winter season ahead. So call 347-8086 to schedule your Early Bird Special today. And turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
Your brain is an amazing thing, but as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, The breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, Prevagen has been shown to improve memory. A Pharmacy Times national survey of pharmacists rated Prevagen the #1 pharmacist-recommended memory support brand for the 5th year in a row. You can find it in the vitamin aisle in stores everywhere without a prescription. Help your memory. Try Prevagen today. Prevagen. Healthier brain, better life. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Looking for your next car? Give Car Corner a try. Car Corner, located at 2653 Mount Moriah. They specialize in cars under $15,000. Bad credit? No problem at Car Corner. CarCornerMemphis.com. That's CarCornerMemphis.com. They even have cash cars under $7,000. That's Car Corner at 2653 Mount Moriah. CarCornerMemphis.com. Look for the building with the teal green roof.
Memphis music legends, the Bar-Kays, will be at this year's AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and you'll want to be there too. The Bar-Kays will be performing the music that made Memphis at the President's Gala on December 28th at the Peabody, and at halftime of the 65th AutoZone Liberty Bowl game on December 29th.
Everybody say, Show Finger!
Get your tickets today by calling the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at 795-7700. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and joining us now to talk some Tiger football, some AAC football. Richard Cross from Sports Talk Mississippi, also ESPN announcer for AAC football. Richard, thanks so much for joining us. You were on the call this past weekend for Charlotte and Memphis, and I'm curious, how many Charlotte games have you done this year? I've watched a ton of them on ESPN Plus, and I feel like a lot. I've seen your name at the beginning. I've heard your voice. How many Charlotte games have you done this year?
Believe it or not, that was only the second.
Really?
They've both been in Charlotte, and when we sat down with Biff Poggi before the meeting, and Taylor McHarg, my partner, reminded him that we had done the Navy game. He's like, "Hey, is there any way I can get another crew to come in?" Because we were really, really bad that day. A little bit different story this past week, though. I mean, that Memphis-Charlotte game last week, I was kind of looking through the scores from the entire country and the way games played out, and I can only come up with Duke, North Carolina, as being an overall more entertaining game last weekend than what we had at Jerry Richardson Stadium, and what a good win for Memphis because it keeps everything alive.
You had a wild one, and your closing Memphis wins. It's really good, and I think at the end of the year at the team banquet that will resonate. That will really play a lot because that kept everything alive, as you said during that game when the Tigers fell behind. Then when they were making the comeback, when did you feel like they really had them? When the clock struck zero?
Yeah, when they got the stop of Charlotte in the first overtime period, it felt like, okay, Memphis is probably going to figure out a way to get this done. You know, they trailed by 10, talking about Memphis, twice in the fourth quarter. Charlotte has had its issues defensively, and you knew that with a veteran like Seth Hennigan kind of as the trigger man, that Memphis was going to have a shot. But, you know, Memphis didn't have an answer for the ground game from Charlotte. I'm sure Memphis fans probably have kind of figured this story out now, but the top two running backs for the 49ers were out. And this kid, Hassan Wilson, who had in his career one carry for 4 yards, goes for over 200 on the ground. It was like, where did he come from? Well, it turns out he was, took a while to come all the way back from an ACL, MCL, and PCL injury.
Wow.
But he played really, really well, and it was like Charlotte just kept going. You did wonder, was there enough in the tank to kind of withstand it? But the other thing is, you knew Charlotte had some confidence going into the overtime because just a week earlier they had won an overtime at Tulsa. When it was all said and done, though, I thought the veteran leadership from Hennigan and Watson and some of those guys on the offensive line just really turned out to be the difference.
Well, you mentioned Seth Hennigan, and in that game he had to leave for a series that turned into an interception by backup quarterback Tevin Carter. But Seth Hennigan, who's been dealing with injuries, there's been a lot of talk around here, especially early in the season, about his play. I think that has kind of leveled out. He's been playing really well as of late and was the AAC Offensive Player of the Week after that Charlotte performance. But what did you make of his game and being able to come back from that injury, getting banged up a little bit, and leading the Tigers back to a victory?
Well, let's pull out the cliche toolbox just for a second.
Let's do.
We'll go shoe leather, tough as a $2 steak. Well, however it is you want to describe him. Look, you watch Seth throw the football. It's not that he's got the prettiest motion. It's not that he throws the best spiral, but he gets it done. And how many times have you heard the whole son of a coach? Mm-hmm. But if you go a little bit deeper into his story, there was a story in the Commercial Appeal a couple of weeks ago that kind of detailed when he became the starter at Denton Ryan, for his dad. His brother Ian, his older brother Ian, was supposed to be the starter his senior year. He had a shoulder injury, and Seth, I guess it was as a sophomore, came in, played so well, never gave the job back, and finished at 39-2. So he's been a winner his entire life. He's been around football. You talk to that Memphis coaching staff, and they talk about how it's like another coach on the field, that he's a film junkie, he's a football junkie, and he's confident, right? He's been in a lot of different situations. He's seen a lot of different things, and I thought really played well. Watching also the way his teammates reacted. Morgan Uber was our sideline reporter, and she said when he came out of the injury tent, he kind of shook his head, walked over to receivers, fist bumped him, and they immediately started throwing on the sideline. And it was like that kind of provided a lift for them psychologically, and then they went out and made plays.
Richard, this league that you have covered and you know so well, look, almost nobody out there is a defensive first league anymore. We know a lot of college football now. You got to hang on for dear life by the chin at the 59, 55 second mark. That's just the way it is. But this league, a lot of scoring, not a lot of defense. How good is it?
It's certainly a different league than it was even a year ago, Brett. I mean, when you lose Cincinnati and you lose UCF, you lose, I guess, SMU this coming year, haven't gone away yet. That obviously takes some of the luster off from the top, but it's been a really competitive league. UTSA making the move into the league this year is a really incredible story. They won back-to-back Conference USA titles. They haven't lost a regular season or postseason conference game, going back to Conference USA, in over 2 years. I mean, they're really rolling. To me, that matchup next weekend in New Orleans, I'm actually headed to Boca this weekend. I've got Tulane and FAU has stumbled a little bit, but Tulane's been hanging on by a thread. And on the flip side of that, you got UTSA, who seems to be getting better and better each week, and they've got a quarterback that Brett, I think he was at UTSA when you were still in high school.
Yeah.
We're talking about Frank Harris. This is his 7th year in that program, and so they're an experienced team. I think at the top, I think when you're talking about UTSA, Tulane, Memphis, and SMU, you're talking about 4 really, really good football teams. They are not football teams who are perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but those are the 4 that are different than everybody else in the league. The rest of it's competitive. You watched the Memphis-Charlotte game last week, and you realize, you know what? You better show up to play regardless of who the opponent is. You've seen that with Tulsa a time or two, where they popped up and they've had a really good game. Navy's had a couple of performances where it's like, this is a bad football team, and you're like, wait, how did that happen with Navy?
Yeah.
So is the league great top to bottom? No, it's not. But I do think the 4 teams at the top of the league are really good.
I think Frank Harris has only been at San Antonio since Santa Ana was vanquished from the Alamo.
Look, here's the thing. So as a program, UTSA is 13 years old.
That's right.
He has been on that team for 7 years. He has been on the team for more than half of that program.
That's great. That is a great note. Visit with our friend Richard Cross from Sports Talk Mississippi. We are going to ask Richard about the opening at Mississippi State, but we want to talk primarily about the Tigers and their big game against SMU. So if it got down to a Memphis-Tulane rematch, I'm really going a few weeks out. I was at that game, the regular season game. How do you think that would play out?
Well, I don't know that I'm ready to make a score prediction, but I will tell you Tulane is different than they were then. They are really, really banged up right now, especially at the receiver position. We were talking about veteran quarterbacks a second ago when you talk about South Hennigan. Michael Pratt falls into the exact same conversation, and he's kind of willed them to some wins. Not entirely different from Memphis from a season ago where they lose their top 5 pass catchers. 4 of them transfer out. One of them just runs out of eligibility. You're talking about Tyjae Spears not being on that Tulane roster from a season ago where he meant so much to that team. They are a different team than they were. The thing that has stood the test this season, though, for Tulane has been their defense. They've been really good. I mean, if you go back to the loss that Tulane has this year, which was to Ole Miss back in the, second or third week of the season, even in that game, that defense really stood in nicely and played well all season long. So even though they're really banged up on the offensive side, that defense has been good. And it's got to be against Memphis if you end up with a rematch in that ball game, because this Memphis team can score. Now, I'm not sure that Memphis can stop anybody consistently. They didn't against Charlotte. They didn't against North Texas a couple of weeks ago. But they've been able to score enough to get it to get it done and get the win. So it would be a really fascinating rematch, and it's going to be interesting to watch over the next couple of weeks if Tulane is able to get a little bit healthier. They got to get over that hump against FAU, but then, guys, that Friday in New Orleans on the final weekend of the regular season where you got UTSA and Tulane, to me, that's the one to watch.
Yeah. Playoff game.
Sure is.
Mm-hmm.
Richard, before we let you go, I got to ask you about Mississippi State. They made the decision to cut off ties with Zach Arnett, fired him Monday morning. What'd you make of that decision, and who are some names that you've heard, or who are some names that you think Mississippi State could go out and hire for their head coach?
But I think in a lot of ways that decision made itself.
Yeah.
It's a really short amount of time, and I don't think there's anybody that would argue that the hand that Zach Arnett was dealt was a difficult one.
Absolutely.
Because not only are you taking on in a tough situation where we lose one of the great legends in the game in Mike Leach, but you're talking about stylistically making a wholesale change. That didn't work. And I think the thing that really stood out for Mississippi State fans, not only was the offensive transition difficult, the defense took a step back. They lost a couple of pieces off that defense a year ago. Emmanuel Forbes at the top of the list. They had a bunch of guys that played a lot of football that came back, and yet defensively they had some games where they just really, really looked bad. I mean, there's no other way to spin it, is they just looked bad. And then you looked at sideline demeanor, and, that's probably an overrated way of looking things, but it bothered people that, Zach Arnett on the sidelines looked disengaged, and fans were kind of bailing. And I think it kind of left Zach Selman, the new AD, and Mark Keenum to a certain degree as well as the president of the university in a spot where they felt like they absolutely had to make a change. But look, it's a hard time. I mean, I think we've seen with coaching transitions, it's harder than ever to not only hire a coach, but to hire a good coach, especially when the expectations are what they are because of the dollars that are being paid. Mississippi State's probably going to have to pay $5, $6, $7 million for whoever their next head coach is a year, in addition to the staff. And I guess they're fortunate in the sense that the contract that Zach Arnett was operating under was not prohibitive in terms of being able to, kind of get out of that financially. There are a million names that are out there. Obviously, there are a couple that are American Conference coaches that stand out. Willie Fritz's name has been thrown around. Some people want to say, well, he's too old. We were talking about it on our show yesterday. He's 11 years younger than Nick Saban is. So, maybe he's not too old after all. Tom Herman is a name. Jeff Traylor is a name. And those are just some of the hot names that are, kind of all over college football.
Sure.
Feels like worth watching with Jamie Chadwell at Liberty. He's done such a good job at Coastal Carolina, and he's got Liberty undefeated. Is that attractive to Jamie Chadwell, or would he prefer to kind of stay in the spot that he's in where he's making good money and pick an ACC job if that comes open somewhere down the line. I think it's going to be really fascinating to watch this one play out. Or some of the bigger names like a Chris Kleiman or a Lance Leipold, are those in play? I don't know. I guess we're gonna watch Zach Selman earn his money at Mississippi State over the next couple of weeks. He tries to not only figure out who's a fit, but figure out who that they can make happen financially. And then, the third piece of this, and this is not unique to Mississippi State, how invested and how organized are you with the NIL piece?
Yeah.
And, there are folks at the Bulldog Initiative that say that they think that they are ready to compete financially, and we'll see, because that all factors into not just the decision of who a school wants to bring in, but when they're interviewing candidates, that's one of the first questions that a candidate's going to ask. Okay, where are we on the NIL front? So I'd love you to tell you, hey, this is who it's going to be, but honest answer is I don't know who it's going to be right now.
Yeah, well, it's certainly going to be an interesting job to keep an eye on, job opening to keep an eye on. But, Richard, thank you so much for joining us, and let's do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. Richard Cross with us from Sports Talk Mississippi, and we do appreciate that. And he's been great this year on American Athletic Conference games. He's had a blast doing it and really learning this league, that being his beat, and he's thrown himself into it. And you could tell with the backstories, he's done a good job on the knowledge of learning this league and the players in it. And I think it's a really good league. He does as well. And he alluded to maybe not so fast on putting Tulane in that AAC championship game with work to do and, some tread coming off the tires late in the year with some injuries. The holiday season, it's here. Eating season is here. And we love doing it at Jason's Deli, and all the soups, all the spreads, the breads, the cheeses, the meat's all so good at Jason's Deli, and they can bring it to you for your event, or you can get it in bulk to go, however you want it, bringing more to the table. It's a family thing for Jason's Deli. This group, over 200 associates strong. They wish everyone happy Thanksgiving and happy holiday season. That's really now begun in full tilt. And we love this time of year. They do. A variety of delicious choices for all three meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner time for groups of 5 or 5,000. Check out the most popular choices or visit them online. Whatever you choose, you can always count on low delivery fees. Same day and last minute orders welcome. That's when they really excel. When you feel like you don't have your event planned just right, like all these office party events we're getting ready to go to, they've got you covered. All the food's free from dyes, artificial trans fats, and flavors. It's all good and good for you, whether to dine in, to go, or delivery. Wholesome food forever. It's a family thing. All those meals like the pasta feast, the plain Jane potato bar, all the soups that we love so much, all the salads we love so much, the working lunch, the deluxe client presentation lunch, the VIP meeting. They've got all that for you, whether it's the salads, like in every location, the great salad bar, over 30 items to choose from, and you can prepare it however you would like, or the chicken club salad, the taco salad, the chicken Caesar salad. Healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free. Catering anytime, anywhere. Locations at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Complimentary free ice cream in all those locations. Christmas tree going up soon in all those locations. Check them out online at jasonsdeli.com.
Well, Brett, it was an ugly one last night in Los Angeles between the Grizzlies and the Lakers. But let's go ahead. We're late for a break. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Grizzlies versus the Lakers last night. That's next on Sports Time.
The Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Old school jewelry stores here in Memphis don't like what Genesis Diamonds is doing, but regular folks here are asking what took Genesis so long to get here. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and Genesis Diamonds is a game changer. More selection, higher quality, extreme value prices like you never knew existed, top designers, non-commission experts, and ironclad warranties. Genesis is the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans. The owners are Tennesseans. They've dominated the jewelry scene in Nashville for nearly 20 years. Their store here at Poplar and Perkins Extended will blow your mind. Diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, thousands of engagement rings, colored gemstone jewelry. It's a jewelry superstore with no pressure, no games, and no phony pricing. Also, you've got to see their amazing selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Pristine watches in pristine condition, value priced. They have all the hard-to-find models in stock. So what are you waiting for? Hit up Genesis Diamonds in Poplar Commons at Poplar and Perkins Extended. You are going to thank me for this.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Yo, Mark, long time no see. You still down at Dyer's?
Man, I'm not down at Dyer's. I'm out at Collierville Historic Town Square.
When'd you move out there?
We've been out there for about 13 years. We've got the shops, the park. We got the train the kids like to play on.
You still cooking those burgers the old-fashioned way?
Man, we're still flattening out those hamburger balls on a slab of marble and skillet frying them the old-fashioned way like they've been doing for 100 years.
Dude, you still have those onion rings.
Man, they're fantastic. Hand-breaded, served up just right.
I loved those milkshakes. Please tell me you're still doing those.
Man, we are hand-dipping those shakes, putting them in the old glass in the shake tin, served the old-fashioned way.
You got any new items out there I need to know about?
We're just doing a lot of gourmet sandwiches. We've got farm-raised catfish straight out of the Delta. We've got some hot tamales from Pasquale's Tamales out of Helena, Arkansas.
Man, are they served in the husk?
What those guys like to say, they're so good, you'll suck the shuck.
Go see my buddy Mark at Dyer's Cafe in Collierville's historic town square.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Visit Acura of Memphis to learn more about the Acura MDX and the MDX Type S.
Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg at East Memphis Ace. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ready to cook in only 15 minutes with cook temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between. Change your at-home cooking experience for life with our unmatched, authentic wood-fired grill flavor that has our customers raving. Get your Big Green Egg and all our accessories at East Memphis Ace on the corner of South White Station and Quince Road.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett in our Family Leisure Studios. And we spent a lot of the first segment talking about the Grizzlies and their loss last night to the LA Lakers. It was a brutal loss, really, from start to finish. Brett, you mentioned it earlier. Last lead was 6-5 or whatever it was. I mean, that's kind of how the night went, and it doesn't really surprise me at all. But I really want to focus here, the few minutes we have left in this hour. You brought it up at the start, but this road, I mean, these next 3 or 4 games, these next 4 games more specifically, at San Antonio, your next game on Saturday, next day at home against Boston, next Wednesday at Houston against the Rockets, and then Friday you come back home against Phoenix to wrap up next week. I mean, that's, any way you look at it, that is a tough 4-game stretch.
It is in that Boston game. That's not matinee. That's not a 5 o'clock start. That's a 7 p.m. start at FedEx Forum, and the Boston Celtics will really, have a lot of fans out. And the Grizzlies have, a great number of tickets sold. They'll have a lot of fans. Sure. But last night it was tough, and it only gets tougher because, 6 minutes in, or 6 minutes of play, Luke Kennard gets hurt. And then 8 minutes of play, Marcus Smart gets hurt. 22 minutes of play, Jaren Jackson's feelings get hurt as he was awful last night.
Yeah. It was one of those matchups where Jaren wasn't great, and Anthony Davis was really good last night. And
don't you know the Lakers have to be thinking, and this is the team that was in our face last April, talking stuff to us.
Well, and I don't know if I guess you didn't stay up till after the game, and I don't know if you've seen it today, but after the game on I think SVP maybe, or maybe it was after the game on Lakers post game or something like that. But Anthony Davis was interviewed somewhere, and he was asked, you and LeBron, y'all sat out the entire fourth quarter. I mean, when's the last time y'all were able to sit out for an entire fourth quarter? And Anthony Davis goes,
last time we played him.
Yeah, I think it was last time we played the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's
40.
true. I mean,
it is true.
And I mean, that's just how kind of lopsided, as much as we wanted to kind of tout this thing up of, we're getting the Lakers and it's going to be a great series. It's been pretty lopsided in all of the contests.
The difference in the Grizzlies, when the ball went in the air that Sunday afternoon of game 1, as that playoff series was 0-0,
Yep.
Ball goes in the air, to now unrecognizable.
Oh, man. Completely different team, Brett. I mean, this doesn't look anything like those playoff teams. But, a tough next 4 games for the Grizzlies, and we'll see how they fare Saturday when they go down to San Antonio. Before we get to a break, I know people are looking for a place to watch a game, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow night, with the NBA slate, the college football slate, the college basketball slate, a lot going on. I know you're looking for a spot, so let me point you into the direction of Bell Tavern, located at 117 Barbaro Alley, right behind 117 Prime. Open from 4 to 11 Wednesday through Saturday, and 4 to 8 on Sundays. Look, I know nobody likes a loud bar where you can't hear yourself think, much less talk, but that's the opposite of Bell Tavern. Start your night with a gourmet burger and one of their great cocktails in a quiet, dimly lit bar that you can enjoy a game at with your friends. And it's not just the burgers. Bell Tavern has the best bar food in Memphis and the coldest beer in the city. 117 Prime, just walk through their dining room and you're at the best bar in town. For more information about our friends at Bell Tavern, call 901-249-6580. That's 901-249-6580, or go online to belltavern.com. Well, that'll do it for our first hour. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk college football with David Cohn.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings & Grill.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
How long has it been since you heard the term being overstocked? Well, it's happened at Family Leisure. Yep. That means you get the savings, like select patio sets that are up to 50% off. If you need a play gym, you're in luck because they're also overstocked and start at under $2,000. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off of in-stock items. Saunas, massage chairs, arcades, even theater seating. Special financing is available with free delivery. Family Leisure is extending sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And if you need supplies to close up your pool for the winter, Family Leisure has them up to 30% off. It's been a while since you've heard of an overstock sale, but Family Leisure is right in the middle of one. Huge deals and a huge overstocked inventory. That means great savings for you. It's happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Memphis' oldest restaurant, Colette's, was established in 1923 to give Memphians the best Italian food possible. And I'd say they got it right. They are the creators of the barbecue pizza. It was Elvis's favorite, and I know for a fact that a large will feed one person all weekend. If you need to feed several, though, Colette's caters any event. Choose from homemade lasagna, ravioli, Alfredo, primavera, and so many other delicious items you can't help but enjoy. Impress employees or clients and treat them to Colette's for lunch or dinner. Plan ahead and get your holiday party booked at Colette's. Elvis's favorite place to go eat with his buddies at the South Parkway location, and Colette's even has an Elvis room dedicated to him. Call Colette's on South Parkway at 948-7652 or Appling Road at 383-1122. Colette's. It was Elvis's favorite, and it should be yours too.
Memphis music legends, the Bar-Kays, will be at this year's AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and you'll want to be there too. The Bar-Kays will be performing the music that made Memphis at the President's Gala on December 28th at the Peabody, and at halftime of the 65th AutoZone Liberty Bowl game on December 29th.
Everybody say, so big out.
Get your tickets today by calling the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at 795-7700. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
College football talk as David Cohn, the co-host of Crane & Company with Jake Crane, joins Bryant, Brett, and Jay Morgan, a college quarterback at Michigan, a tall man that's on Twitter at David Adam Cohn. Here's David with Bryant and Brett.
Welcome back into Sports Time. David Cohn joining us now from Crane & Company to talk some college football. David, thanks so much for joining us, and we got to start with the Jim Harbaugh situation.
It's a rule, David. It's a radio rule.
Every time you come on, we got to start with Jim Harbaugh. It's the rule now. And, I mean, Friday afternoon, plane's already in the air, team's on the way to Penn State, and we finally get the ruling that Jim Harbaugh is going to be suspended for the final 3 regular season games for Michigan. What did you make of that decision? And then really the next day, Michigan coming out and really putting it on Penn State for most of that game. What did you make of the decision by the Big Ten and then that performance by Michigan?
Well, as always, thank you guys so much for having me. Last Friday afternoon was quite the whirlwind, man. I'll tell you what, a lot of emotions all weekend. I was absolutely shocked that Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti made that decision. And, what I said on today's show was we're only 3 years removed from the COVID summer when the Big Ten panicked under pressure and decided to cancel its football season and open the door for Greg Sankey in the Southeastern Conference to not only fill that leadership void, but to save college football that year. And even though the Big Ten has a new commissioner, the modus operandi seems to remain the same, that they're going to panic under pressure like this. And to make this move, to suspend this guy without conducting their own investigation, right? They're just taking what the NCAA is giving them, and to do that while a man is on the team with his on a plane with his team en route to play their biggest game of the season, I was absolutely shocked. And for some people, the facts of this situation have never mattered, right? They're Michigan homers or Michigan haters, but I think for most of the country, everyone wants to know what are the facts.
That's right.
What are the violations? Who committed them? Where's the evidence, and what is the punishment for that? And I was wondering this whole time, is Michigan going to have to, and will they be able to, embrace a role they've never had to do before, which is the villain role? But when Tony Petitti made that decision last Friday, my phone didn't stop going off from people across the country. Notre Dame fans, Michigan State fans, Georgia fans, Florida State fans, everyone reaching out to me and texting me and said, I can't believe this. This is not right. I'm now pulling for Jim Harbaugh. And so what they did was they tried to vilify this guy. And instead, to many people, they martyrized him, right? And I think that, Jim Harbaugh saying that this is now America's team, I see it as him basically calling their troll job, and I say they, I mean not just the conference, but the media and the NCAA, calling their troll job and really raising them one. And then that gets into the football game itself, where these young men, went out on 20 hours notice without their head coach on the sideline. Already a tough challenge. Guys, I've played in Beaver Stadium twice. It's the most electrifying atmosphere in the Big Ten. It's hard to go win football games over there. And they're a top 10 team, and they have one of the best defenses in the country. And Michigan, up to this point, hasn't played any stout competition. Of course they could go in and lose that game, even with Jim Harbaugh, even without any distractions. And they go in there, and Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator, interim head coach, leads this team, and they didn't even throw a pass, the whole second half and half of the second quarter. It shows that this team is willing to win in whatever way possible, and it reminds me a lot of the Georgia team last year when they won the championship, completely fine suffocating you in the second half when they didn't need to run up the score. I think this Michigan team is built a little different. I'm just really proud of the players because I think that's where the focus should be here.
And, David, it is really building, and this is quite a statement. I mean, I don't want to be heat of the moment, but it is building to the biggest Michigan-Ohio State game ever, because even after this year, that game's going to look different because it's not going to be – and this year's not a zero-sum game as it has been in the past, even back to the days if you didn't win it, you didn't go to any bowl game, much less the Rose Bowl game. But it's really going to feel – I mean, it's going to be right. That atmosphere and that tension at that stadium. You were going through that list of things like evidence and, just very, very basic principle things. I'd like to know the accuser.
Yeah, I would as well. And, and this is another side that, I see when I talk about Michigan homers and Michigan haters. Obviously, a lot of people in my Michigan circles latched on to this is Ryan Day as the catalyst for this, and he got his brother to investigate this, and here's proof. Again, I said the same thing to some of them that I've said to a lot of people about not giving Michigan their due process, which is, okay, that's a nice narrative, and if that's true, that's going to be quite the story if Ryan Day truly is behind this. But again, I don't have any proof to that. I'd love to see the evidence and the proof of that, just like I'd love to see the evidence and the proof that Connor Stallions is going out and pre-scouting football games, which, again, even like, we're talking about the Big Ten Conference here, who spent more than a year before they punished Penn State for any child molestation after allegations broke of that with Jerry Sandusky. But within the matter of a couple of weeks here, we already have a punishment with, for an analyst going and pre-scouting football games. But either way, you're talking about the Michigan-Ohio game. And just to, recap a couple things here, I'm from South Georgia, right? I really had no dog in the Michigan-Ohio fight. When I was growing up, all I wanted to do was play college football. My mother's from Columbus, Ohio, to be honest. So, she was a Buckeye fan. Her whole side of the family are Buckeyes fans. But when the University of Michigan offered me a scholarship, I said, yeah, I didn't plan on going 1,000 miles away from home, but I'll go play for the winningest college football program of all time and see if I can go add to that legacy. And then my freshman year was the 1 versus 2 year. I mean, that's what I stepped into as an 18-year-old kid. Number 1 versus number 2.
And Bo passing away on Friday.
But I was in the room for Bo Schembechler's last speech, and even as I'm telling you that story here, I get chills because I was in the room for that last speech. It was Thursday night after practice. He passed the next day. The Buckeyes, Jim Tressel called Lloyd Carr and said, hey, do you want to postpone the game? We said, no, we're coming down there Saturday, and we're going to play. We go to the Horseshoe, lose by 3. They go on and play in the national championship. Troy Smith wins the Heisman Trophy. We move on and play USC in the Rose Bowl. And I just thought, hey, this is what I'm in store for, right? For the rest of the time. This is how it is here. Then Rich Rodriguez comes in, and the Buckeyes dominate Michigan for well over a decade. I mean, Brady Hoke got a win there in the Denard Robinson year and all that, but it was ugly for a long time. And Jim Harbaugh couldn't beat Urban Meyer. Well, now the situation has changed, and we got this top 3 matchup last year. And again, I felt the same way I felt my freshman year. Wow, this is unbelievable. The winner of this is going to go to the college football playoff. Turns out the winner and the loser of that game last year made the college football playoff. And now, not only are we possibly headed for that again, this top 3 matchup with both teams undefeated, which should be appreciated anytime we get that. But now you add on top of that, the stakes are even higher with all of this outside noise that's going around. And I said last weekend, when Michigan beat Penn State, it was one of the biggest wins in the history of their football program because the stakes were more than just, if you lose, that's going to hurt your chances to win the conference or make the college football playoff. Now the stakes were, if you lose, you're the laughing stock of the nation because of everything that's going on. But if you win, you could galvanize support from the rest of the nation. And that's exactly what you saw as the hashtags and the social media things started to happen. So next weekend is going to be a showdown of epic proportions. It gives us a 2v3 matchup, and it helps clear the way for the college football playoff as we chisel down to get to these 4 teams.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game, and now with all this kind of attached to it, more intriguing for sure. We're talking to David Cohn, the co-host of Crane and Company. He joins us every week to talk college football, and we've had some firings over the last week, the biggest being Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. What'd you make of that decision, and who are some names that you think could take over at Texas A&M for next year?
I saw a stat today that said Jimbo Fisher got paid $20,000 for his first offensive coordinator job at Stanford, and he'll make $28,000 a day for the next 8 years.
Wow!
So when they I saw people breaking it down how much money he made last night when he's asleep. The $77 million buyout is that's insane. But Jimbo Fisher still wanted to succeed there. He's a national championship winner. It didn't work out at Texas A&M, and I still think it can there if you get the right guy. And what's interesting is recruiting is a problem for a lot of these coaches, but it wasn't for Jimbo Fisher, right? Like he had a number 1 class, and I think he had on average, he was ranking 4th behind Alabama and Georgia and a lot of these programs that have stacked up these national championships. To me, if I'm the athletic, I always put myself in the position of the athletic director, and I say, if it's my job, I'll get fired if I make a wrong move in terms of who I hire now to bring in. then to me the first call I would make for sure is Urban Meyer. And you're going to hear his name brought up a lot with a lot of these jobs. But let me tell you why Texas A&M makes a lot of sense. See, Urban Meyer's not going to Michigan State. As soon as Mel Tucker was fired, people were talking about that. I don't see Urban Meyer going to Michigan State.
He's not going to Arkansas.
Yeah, he's not going to Arkansas. There's only we know a couple jobs he would take, right? He would take USC. Well, unless Lincoln Riley goes to the NFL, that's not coming open. I think he would take Notre Dame, even though he turned Notre Dame down for Florida back in the day. But I think Marcus Freeman is going to be rolling there for at least a little bit. Texas A&M is interesting because they can pay him a lot of money and still pay Jimbo Fisher's buyout. And they haven't had that sort of success before, right? Like even when he came into Florida, Steve Spurrier had sort of already done it there, but he wasn't directly following up Spurrier. When he went into OSU, Jim Tressel had won a national championship there, but he was following up with Luke Fickell in the interim year. Now he could go in and really turn Texas A&M around, recruit, and just remember, Urban Meyer's only 3 years older than Nick Saban was when he took the Alabama job. So he has plenty of gas left in the tank. He's one of the greatest college football coaches really of all time when you consider he's won 3 national championships, 2 in the SEC, 1 in the Big Ten, and 2 more undefeated seasons on top of that where he didn't participate in the postseason. So he has plenty of time to still build up another run here in college football, and coming off of what certainly was an embarrassing situation with him with the Jacksonville Jaguars in the NFL, you could sort of, you're buying a little bit low, right? Like you're not buying him away from a team he just won a championship at last year. I don't know how much he wants to get back in the college game, but you're able to buy him a little bit lower in terms of that stock and bring him in. Apart from that, of course, Mike Elko's name is going to be mentioned with his ties to the program, and it looks like already Dan Lanning and Deion Sanders and a lot of these other guys have already said, no way, I'm not interested. But, everybody says that till the oil money starts getting offered.
That's right. David Cohn with us. David, do you think it's if or when for Sam Pittman?
I think it's when for Sam Pittman when it comes to, when that buyout drops here over the next few weeks. And again, I hate it because I'm such a big Sam Pittman fan. And that's not just me, right? I don't know a single person that's come on our show that we've interviewed or a caller who's called in. Arkansas fans are calling in every week to Crane and Company. Everyone loves Sam Pittman. But I think that they have certainly seen under the Bobby Petrino years and everything that the ceiling can be higher. And what's especially a bad look is when you're an offensive line guy, but they haven't really been, dominating in the trenches like they should be with that type of coach. And you return KJ Jefferson at quarterback this year. Like, of course the expectations were higher. They had to be higher, right? Like the expectations are higher at Arkansas, even if you were to start a brand new quarterback. So I understand that they are frustrated. I think, again, there is a coach. The Urban Meyer's not taking that job, right? Like we said, but somebody will take the Arkansas job that can really go in there and win a lot of football games. It's tough. You're playing in the SEC West. Like Arkansas could be one of those teams we see that benefits when we move away from divisions, kind of like a Tennessee in the East or Penn State in the Big Ten East. These are the sorts of teams as we move away from divisions can maybe start to sneak up and find more wins and maybe compete in more conference championships.
Yeah. A lot of rumors circulating, a lot of people saying that maybe Chip Kelly could get fired the next couple of days or before the end of the season. Do you see UCLA making a move?
That's been the report that I've been seeing for the last 24 hours here. I don't know if I like that move so much. I mean, think about it. You're about to go into the Big Ten. You want to add, exacerbate that uncertainty by also going in with a brand new coach. Yeah. Now, has Chip Kelly lived up to what he was at Oregon, and after he went to the NFL and came back? No, not necessarily, but I thought he's brought a pretty good level of physicality to UCLA. When you look at what Zach Charbonnet was doing at running back, a year ago, and even on defense this year, they've had some really great performances. Going back and forth on the quarterback situation, it started Dante Moore early in the season, so he's recruited some good pieces, and they have this really good level of physicality, which they're going to need as they enter the Big Ten. I know that the wins aren't there necessarily, And maybe he just needs a good win this weekend against USC. Maybe this isn't a done deal, and these are just rumors. I'm not sure, but who would you go get right away that is going to give you more confidence entering the Big Ten? Maybe UCLA fans on your lines here, maybe they feel differently and they think they could make a move now and improve with the right hire. But that one doesn't make as much sense to me.
David, at this moment of the 2023 season, who are the 4 best teams?
Georgia looks unbeatable. When I watched Georgia play Ole Miss, the word that came to my mind was unbeatable.
Oh, man.
Alabama is trending. Alabama is trending in the right way, just like we've seen so many times. And the fact that Nick Saban is doing this with not only a young quarterback, but a young quarterback who was benched early in the year, who had multiple turnovers in a game against Texas that they lost at home. And now all of a sudden they've been rolling the way they are. I mean, what is this? This is a 1 versus 8 matchup. We're already going to get in this SEC championship. It really is not surprising that in one of the best years of parity that we've seen across college football, it's still Georgia and Alabama are not only going to meet in the SEC championship game, but that could de facto be the national championship, right? Or the SEC championship game, but that's sort of the de facto national championship game. They're both just playing at such a high level, especially with what Georgia is doing offensively too. It's not just on defense what they're doing, but offensively they look unstoppable. Brock Bowers coming back last weekend. Ladd McConkey is one of the best route runners you're going to find. They just do what these championship teams do, which is get better every week, and they peak towards the end of the season. I would put Michigan up there as well. I mean, it was a very impressive win that we had over Penn State. Again, in a very unusual way at the end of the game. You didn't have to lean on J.J. McCarthy, but hey, they're a run-first team, right? That's what they wanted to do, was rush for over 200 yards rather than have J.J. McCarthy throw for over 300 yards. Now, that game plan's not going to beat the Buckeyes. That game plan's not going to beat Georgia or Alabama or Oregon, but they weren't playing those teams. They were playing Penn State. They knew what they had on the other side with Drew Aller, and they ran the game plan that they knew would win the football game, and they did. So I think Michigan, I really think that they're right up there, sort of as good as it gets, but maybe not quite playing at the level that Georgia is necessarily, but could certainly win the championship. I think 1 through 8 right now really could. Oregon's also one of those teams. Oregon's playing such good football. People have criticized the strength of schedule a little bit, and I had Washington in my college football playoff at the beginning of the year. So to see what Washington's doing and Michael Penix Jr., I think is really incredible, and I'm really rooting for that team. But since that loss to Washington, Oregon's really been trending in the right direction, and Bo Nix, the way this kid has developed after his time at Auburn, it really is special. And then let's see what happens with Florida State. Florida State's one of those teams where it's like, man, are they really, really good? Or, could they lose multiple games before the end of the year? They have all the pieces they need. With Jordan Travis at quarterback, Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, Jared Verse on defense. They have everything they need to be a championship team. And I can't believe the end of the regular season is next week, and yet we're talking about 8 teams right now. Even throw Texas in there if they could go on the run. 8 teams right now that could potentially win the national championship. That's so good for college football.
It's so good for college football, and you're right about Florida State. Now, I do love, and I criticize it. Bryant can attest to it. I say it's disgraceful, the schedule in the SEC this weekend for TV partners, for fans having to pay hard-earned money for those tickets to go to those games. I don't hear anybody criticizing FSU for playing North Alabama, though.
Well, the strength of schedule is something that's come up a lot, particularly when it comes to Georgia and Michigan this year. Right now, both of them were in similar situations the past 2 years. Oklahoma went off of Georgia's schedule early in the year, which would have been a fantastic matchup in the non-conference this year. That went off, and last year with Michigan, that UCLA game went off. Again, I'll say what I continue to say. We need more marquee matchups in the non-conference, more than we need undefeated teams. I don't want to see Alabama play Chattanooga this weekend. No. I'd rather see Alabama be playing USC, right? But what are we sitting here talking about? We're talking about Alabama potentially not making the college football playoff because they had the guts to schedule Texas in week 2, and that one loss right now could keep them out of the playoff. Even if they win the SEC and beat Georgia, that's insane. So these ADs are looking around saying, well, at some point, I have to play the game, right? Like, I have to do what's best for my program. So it's hard to criticize these programs for scheduling these sorts of games. That's where we need, hopefully, the expanded playoff will help a little bit, and you won't necessarily see Florida State playing who they are this weekend when they know, hey, we could still make it to the college football playoff with multiple losses.
Yeah, they could be playing Alabama this weekend. David, I felt for you on Friday night. I knew times were tough when on the Twitter machine I saw where you had turned to straight whiskey and Excedrin.
Oh yeah, 2 Excedrin and 2 Excedrin shot with a glass of Maker's Mark. How was your Friday though?
A little different than that.
Good stuff.
David, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Love you guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, David.
Love you, David. Thank you so much. And David won't be with us next week because we're out next Wednesday for Ole Miss basketball, and in 2 weeks on the 29th, I think David's got a speaking engagement that day, so it could it'll all be decided.
I was about to say,
potentially.
We're talking postseason.
We sure are, and we'll have all the answers then. Brian, who's your top 4 right now?
That's a good question. Georgia certainly up there. I mean, it's hard to beat Georgia. I'd say Michigan. What I saw with them,
that's my 2.
With all of that
that's my 1 and 2 exactly.
I'd say 3rd. I want to put Washington in there, but I
have Washington 4.
Yeah, I was about to say I might have them 4. 3 might be Alabama with what they've done lately.
I have Ohio State. And to my Bama friends that I don't want to get crossways with.
I should have Ohio State. I was just ringing the bell 3
you
weeks
won
ago
at
for them to have
Kentucky.
number 1. I mean, that's a good
Bama
point.
won at Kentucky.
Good point.
Okay? Yeah. And they scored 42 on LSU. Join the club.
Everybody's scoring 42 on LSU.
I mean, I remember an Alabama team that barely beat Arkansas.
No, you're right. It's just
I remember an Alabama team that barely beat A&M. Now, they beat them. And I also remember an Alabama team that lost this season to Texas by 10 definitively.
Sure. Well, and I think it's just so different. I mean, I think we're so used to every year at this point of the season, even though we're so late talking about 2 or 3 even SEC teams up there in the mix. But you're right. I would have to put Ohio State in there for sure.
No, I think Alabama they have a chance, more than a chance to beat Georgia. But they're going to have to do what most everybody usually has to do when they play Alabama. For the first time since Nick Saban's been the coach there, they got to play perfect.
Isn't that incredible?
They've got to go out there and maybe scatter, if it was baseball, scatter 2 or 3 hits.
Yeah.
Maybe pitch a no-hitter.
I was about to say, we might need a couple runs in every inning.
They're not beating Georgia with a B-plus game.
No, you got to bring your A game, maybe even your A-plus game to beat Georgia.
And we don't do pluses in mine. We do this, though. We make that drive down Highway 78 to All-Star Chevrolet, and you should as well, especially during the holiday season. It's the first exit into Mississippi on Highway 78, Kraft Goodman Road. You're there, and your holiday to-do list, it can get completed for sure there. You don't want to miss out on all the great deals. Go to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch, and those new Silverados with the red tags on them, anything with a red tag on, you got good deals coming your way. Kevin and Jeff said they'll get you financing as low as 1.9 or $2,000 back in cash. You could get with financing as low as 1.9 or $1,000 cash back. Your good credit deserves it. You'll get it at All-Star through the rest of this calendar year. Down in Olive Branch, you can get any new Chevy you want, Tahoes, Trailblazers. A lot of families I know just love the Traverse with all the cargo space, the third row seating. So you can do more together this holiday season for all those trips, maybe a great bowl trip as well. Military, teachers, college students, healthcare workers, you get an instant $500 bonus. If you want a certified pre-owned Chevy or any pre-owned All-Star, the lot is full. Ram trucks, a Lexus, a Nissan Rogue, Silverados, Honda, Suburbans, Jeeps, they've got them. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Just ask Jeff, and he will find it. And Jeff and Kevin, they asked me to thank all of you who have brought their cars or trucks this year to All-Star to sell. You can get a check today for great cash. Remember, it's not South Haven, it's not Collierville, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not Bartlett. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy today, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll take an early look at this weekend's college football and NFL lines. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
All 36-month lease, $650 acquisition fee must finance through Hyundai, Forte LXS, PE 694,095, MSRP 21,610, Sportage R722,7239, MSRP 28,715, EVP 560, 3393, MSRP 50,200, includes all rebates and incentives, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2023 with approved credit dealer stock only.
Got Jeff Allen here from Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. Hey Jeff, you ready for the holidays with the season of giving back?
I'm ready to give out some great holiday gifts and save you some big bucks. Perfect for the holiday road trips, 41 MPG Highway in a new 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $229 a month, $27.99 due at signing, or a big family that needs more room, 2024 Kia Sportage LX with class-leading cargo room and rear seat leg room, $299 a month, $34.99 due at signing.
What about an EV?
2023 Kia EV6 Wind, 134 City, 101 Highway, MPGE, $379 a month, $49.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease.
Plus a free charger with your EV purchase and Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
The way they live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
This holiday, the Home Depot is helping you get gifts that keep on giving by making sure they keep on going. Right now, when you buy a select battery kit from Ryobi, Milwaukee, Rigid, DeWalt, or Makita, you get an eligible tool for free. Just pick a brand, pick a battery kit, and get a tool free. Give the gift of more doing this holiday with the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid at participating stores and online. One per transaction. Discount taken at checkout. Full eligible tool list in store and online. Valid October 23rd, 2023 through January 28th, 2024.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. There's still a couple of minor wrecks out here in the clearing stages. Still a bit sluggish over here from an earlier crash we had on 240 East just past 385 there at Billmores Parkway. It's slowed it down pretty good actually now between Perkins and 385 going 240 eastbound. I-40 eastbound starting to get a little bit heavy now trying to get past Sycamore View Road. It still looks like a clear shot for you there on 40 East as you head on out into Fayette County. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, they're getting ready for the holiday season. Go by and see them before the Black Friday sales kick in at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And it's a Wednesday, and you know what we like to do at this time. We like to take a look at the weekend, the slate of games, and what the lines are looking like kind of halfway through the week. So, Brett, where do you want to start for this weekend?
NFL and what happened earlier today, the news of Deshaun Watson.
Oh,
look what that line did. The Browns went from 3.5 to 3, and now it's at 1. Cleveland, 1-point favorite. If you got in when it first came out on the Steelers, we know in that division, man, that feels like 20 points.
Man, I mean, every game is coming down to a 3-point game, a last-second field goal, something crazy at the end.
Every time.
Every single time. Brett, I still might like, with Deshaun out, I still might like Pittsburgh in that game.
I don't know that I don't like Cleveland more.
Really?
Deshaun Watson, the fourth quarter last Sunday was about all he's done all year.
That's very true.
I like P.J. Walker.
Now I do like P.J. Walker. That's going to be a fun game to watch, Pittsburgh versus Cleveland on Sunday.
It will be, and it might be first to 11.
It really might be. I mean, what's the – oh, Brett.
Have we ever had a 5-4 game?
Brett, the total in that game is 33.
I love it.
Holy cow. I mean, that's almost lower than Iowa totals.
That's like a first Friday night of preseason total.
Brett, I'm going to go ahead and write that down right now. So on Friday when we talk to Bruce and Allen, I can make sure to ask them about that total because that's crazy.
Remind me, I want to ask both of them this question on Friday.
Okay.
And I don't have an answer. But I know they will, and I want to see independent of each other. And I don't want to give them any heads up, but I want to ask them this simple question. Is this the best Vegas has ever been on setting these lines? If we see in Vegas as fastest a fastball, because I got a feeling we are. Because look in college, all these underdogs that we hadn't had that out of nowhere underdog win straight up over a ranked team.
No, it seems like they've got a good pulse on it right now. I mean, they always do, but it seems really, really good right now.
I think between all the technology, including AI, Vegas has really gotten it down. I mean, it's breaking news. It's hard to beat them.
Yeah, breaking news, Vegas knows what they're doing.
Yeah, and they're a step or two ahead of everybody else.
Always.
Or 20 steps.
And that's Brett. That's why they're offering free everything out there in Vegas.
That's right, including complimentary golf.
That's right. Yes.
You're
Brett,
not going to get me in trouble.
Brett, Brett, you didn't by any chance, speaking of Vegas, you didn't buy, well, I know you didn't because I know you don't have Netflix, but did you hear anything about the golf tournament they had in Vegas yesterday?
I didn't know anything about it.
So Formula One, the racing circuit, is in Vegas this weekend for a race, and it's a big ordeal. People in Vegas aren't happy because the way the track's set up is it cuts off access to a lot of places. People who work in those places are hating it. Ticket sales are really bad, whatever. But
so it made the strip traffic worse?
Oh, yeah. Because I think like part of the strip
Bruce is going to love this.
Another thing, got to write that down. Got to ask him about the F1 race. Writing that down right now. But so I've heard like so many people are mad about it because I think like half the strip has been cut off because it's part of the racetrack. Well, Netflix has done a documentary series of F1 drivers. They've also done a documentary series with PGA golfers. So last night in Las Vegas, I forgot what golf course they were at, but they did a tournament or a match, basically like the match that we got on TNT, where it was 4 F1 drivers and 4 PGA golfers. And from what I saw, I only saw clips of it on Twitter, but it like wasn't even golf. It was like hit the ball and then run to the golf cart and drive as fast as you can to your ball and hit the next shot. It was wild. I don't even know what was going on. I did not watch much of it.
What PGA Tour players played?
I don't know everybody who played. I know Justin Thomas, whatever F1 driver he was with, they won.
See, I saw a headline today that said Thomas and somebody won. I thought, what were they playing in?
Whatever this little
and I didn't go to the story.
And PGA
I did go to the story today. Boy, is Rory in a snit or what?
Oh, man.
He's been running hot as a firecracker.
It's been for a while now.
It has been for a while. Rory, you won at the Ryder Cup. There's no need for all this contempt and no shock. He left the tour policy board. Tomorrow night in the NFL, it'll be a good one.
Such a good game.
I'm going to listen to every down. We'll have all the action right here on Sports 56 and 98.5, a big one in that aforementioned AFC North.
Yeah, a really good one. And right now I'm seeing Baltimore a 3.5-point favorite in that game. I mean, that's going to be unbelievable for a Thursday night game. We haven't had that good of a Thursday night game all season.
And it'll be both sides laying it on the line because you got a little more recovery time with it being Thursday.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. That's going to be
two really Heisman Trophy quarterbacks tomorrow night. That's good.
Yeah, it's going to be. I haven't been especially for a Prime game, a game on Prime Video. I have not been this excited for a Prime Video game. Before we get to college, what other NFL lines jump out at you for this weekend?
Titans and Jags do, with the Jags coming off that performance and being this big of a home favorite. 7 points at home against the Titans. We know that speaks more of the Titans than it really does the Jags after how they got pounded by the Niners.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, that one's a big one. That's a little surprising.
And the Dolphins, 13.5 over the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are an NFL team.
And how about 49ers, a 12-point favorite over the Buccaneers?
And the Buccaneers, 4-5. Yeah. And the Raiders, 5-5.
Yeah. I mean, these aren't winless teams we're talking about. I mean, teams have been somewhat competitive.
Yeah, we're not talking about some of the college mismatches.
No. Well, let's get to college. What games jump out at you in college?
The first one that gets me is Miami at home. Pick 'em.
Yeah.
Over Louisville. Miami just kind of trying to get to the end and do their thing in NIL. I don't blame them. They're like a lot of teams and a lot of coaching staffs that won't give a hoot about these bowl games. They're trying to get players. That's all they're trying to do in this offseason. But just pick them. Louisville was very fortunate to escape the upset last week against Virginia and now having to go to the U.
Yeah, no, that's a big one. I'm kind of surprised, but you're right. I mean, for Miami, once this regular season is over, they've already turned their attention in monitoring what guys could jump into the portal from their team, from other teams. But once that final game hits, they're immediately looking to the portal. One that jumps out to me is the one here locally. I think it opened up at about a 5.5 point favorite for SMU on Saturday. But now, SMU an 8-point favorite here in Memphis.
And holding.
I can't remember the last time, especially at home, the Tigers have been that much of an underdog in conference play.
Would it be Ryan Silverfield's biggest win?
Yeah, probably.
I think so, for the stakes.
Yeah.
And for the clamor.
Sure.
All the conversation around
Absolutely. And I mean, we've been talking about it, but you win that game and you are still in the mix for that AAC championship game.
Yeah, and this morning I thought it was illustrative with Dave's conversation with Steve Earhart with the Liberty Bowl, with the SEC maybe not providing the inventory to the other bowls with teams that could and it could be none in the playoffs, but into the access bowls, then you're limiting. And I just can't believe there are going to be bowl teams with sub 500 records. I can't believe the SEC would provide a sub 500 team, because Bryant, the criticism of the other fans of other teams of, are you really going to fill in the blank bowl at 5 and 7?
Yeah, well, and I've heard that, obviously
COVID was one thing that year.
COVID was one thing, but I how it will go is, I think James Madison and Jacksonville State will get the first dibs on bowl games if there's not enough bowl eligible teams. But I mean, that's a real idea and a real thought of Florida. If they don't get to 6 wins, they could be a team in the SEC that goes to a bowl game with 5 wins. And I think you're right. I think every other fan base would look and go, why are you even playing in this game? You won 5 games. You're not bowl eligible.
And the Twitter thread, the social media thread is going to be how embarrassing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, easily. And so, that's a good question. I mean, will a
need 82 teams, and there's no way they're getting to 82. There's no. I did it in the wee hours of Sunday morning after getting back from Athens, and I came up with, I mean, they could be 10 shy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that would be something. I mean, I think you'll see some teams that decline. Hey, Florida. Hey, X team.
Well, SEC can't deny.
Oh, really?
If you're at 6-6. The league won't let you.
Right. But I'm saying like 5-win teams. Could they?
I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. They then could pass.
Okay.
They could.
Because I think you could see.
I think just for the humiliation factor.
Yeah. Is okay. We're not gonna accept this if we.
You really went to the Walnut Bowl 5-7.
And that's another great point because it's gonna be a who cares bowl, and you've won 5 games to get to it. I don't think. There are a lot of teams that would be super
with
happy
that,
about that.
as Steve explained to Dave, there is a real opening for the Tigers into the Liberty Bowl.
Really?
Again, like occurred in 2018.
Yeah.
17 or 18.
One of those years.
Yeah, 17.
Around that time. Yeah. That would be fun. I mean, I went to that game and really enjoyed it. I know it was a loss for the Tigers, but it was fun. The atmosphere was great. There were a ton of people there, ton of Tiger fans, so that'd be fun. I mean, if that's a possibility, I would love that.
I missed that day, and I really rubbed it into Drew Barrett that day because it was extremely cold. That was one of the colder Liberty Bowls, and I texted him that day with a picture poolside at the Rose Bowl.
Now, Brett, that's not very nice.
I had to do it.
That's not very nice, but hey, that is nice. I mean, I wish I was poolside at the Rose Bowl, but no, it should be a fun weekend of games, and some of these lines are really interesting early in the week. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Year-end means huge savings at Gossett Kia on the Pike with the season of giving back. How about 41 MPG for those holiday road trips? 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $229 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Family road trip, 2024 Kia Sportage LX with class-leading cargo room and rear seat legroom, $299 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And get where you're going for less than a 2023 Kia EV6 Wind, 134 City, 101 Highway MPGE, $379 a month, $49.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease. Plus a free charger with your EV purchase and Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month lease, $650 acquisition fee. Must finance through Hyundai. Forte LXS PE 694,095 MSRP 21,610. Sportage R722 7239 MSRP 28,715. EVP 560 3393 MSRP 50,200. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2023 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
It's time for the holidays.
Bah, humbug.
What, you're not all excited for the turkey and dressing and cranberry sauce?
The cooking, the cleaning, the relatives. Well, you got people coming in from out of town?
Hi, so many people.
It'll be fun.
All I want to do is go to Central Barbecue.
That's all you ever want to do.
Alone.
Come on, it's the holidays.
Just sitting there in a booth all by myself, enjoying Central Barbecue, no family, being all festive.
Well, you enjoy your own private Central Barbecue holiday.
That is all I ask.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Temperatures are low, but demand is high. You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today comes from college basketball, and it comes from one of those marquee matchups from last night, the Kansas and Kentucky games. Two big numbers, but they both go together. 27 and 21. That's 27 points and 21 rebounds. That was Hunter Dickinson's stat line last night. He became the first Big 12 player to go for at least 25 points and at least 20 rebounds versus a ranked team since Blake Griffin did it in 2008 against a, at the time, ranked Davidson team.
That had to be a team with Steph Curry on it.
It had to have been. I mean, that's really the only time Davidson was ranked back then. And so
I wonder if that was in the NCAA tournament.
I wonder if I can go find. I'm gonna try to find the stat log.
OU was here in Memphis the next year in 2009 as part of the Sweet 16. It was a good game last night. It was a fun night of basketball.
It really was.
To watch and enjoy. I've got a bunch of numbers here, and they all center around Seth Hennigan. 9,745. That's the number of yards passing for Seth Hennigan in his Tigers career. It puts him 470 yards behind Danny Wimprine for second. Danny Wimprine did it over 4 years and mostly a run-heavy offense. We have D'Angelo Williams, you go run the ball a lot, but Danny Wimprine was really capable, really capable college quarterback. And it also puts him 945 behind Brady White for first. He could get all that this year. He's not going to get it all this Saturday against SMU, but with SMU game remaining, Temple, and a potential of an AAC championship game and a bowl game, you know he's going to get three more cracks if he's injury-free and healthy. You know, you have 3 times 3, that's 900. That's getting close to being number one over Brady White, and he's got another year to do it. Just 255 yards this Saturday puts him as one of only 3 Tigers ever to be in the 10K club, 10,000 yards passing. He does that with just 255. He could have 255 in the third quarter.
That's unbelievable.
I love it, Brett. I love the Tiger love, man. I love it.
And Johnny, and that's why people really need to be out there Saturday and support this team. It's got star players. It's got a good story. Okay, maybe you I don't know why you are, but maybe some are sore at the coach. Well, that coach is 8-2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man.
You are what your record is.
Yeah.
That's right.
I completely agree, but, man, them are amazing numbers right there, man.
It is.
Amazing.
And Johnny, you got to see a lot of it really up close, and you know the kind of guy he is, and you know the work he's put in.
Yeah, him and Brady, and it's just amazing, man, to see how how Seth came along as a quarterback.
Yeah,
man.
and Brady's around the program,
Yes,
being
stick
able
around.
to learn
a
from
great person around him.
Yes, he mentors him. He mentors
so,
him, man. It's amazing.
That's a good
good
former
one to listen to.
quarterback. It really is. Steph Curry was on that Davidson team back in 2008.
Yeah, that was the Davidson Elite Eight team that KU beat.
It was
to punch the ticket to San Antonio that led to all of it.
Yeah. We know the story, Brett. Yeah. But no, those were really fun games last night, and I mean, you talk about what Seth Hennigan can do on Saturday to put himself in Tiger record books and in the history books. It's incredible.
And I don't need somebody to tell. We know it's a passing era.
Sure.
You still got to go do it.
Exactly. I mean, you got to do it, and he has been very consistent. And we talked to Richard earlier, and I kind of made the point of, it seemed like earlier in the season there was a lot of talk about Seth. Okay, well, he's not improving. He's not doing this. Not doing that. Seems like all of that has kind of gone away. I mean, he's put together some really good games in conference play.
There was a time that I was a little bit alarmed by not the big step up.
Right.
But I tell you what he's done. Okay, so maybe it's never been that giant step, but he keeps just chopping wood, just step after little step after little step, that adds up to big steps. Yeah. I would like to see that big arc of improvement, but the trend line's always been in the right way.
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, he has been improving, and he has been very consistent at the quarterback position for the Tigers, and really add that, and Richard Cross said this when we talked to him earlier about just how tough he is, and kind of that love for the game.
Bounces up, team rallies around him.
And I really thought when he went down against Charlotte, I said, okay, Tevin, rest of the game's yours. I mean, I did not think he was going to come back from that.
That doesn't scare me.
No, not at all.
But I would rather have the experience.
Absolutely.
Play.
But I thought we were going to get to see kind of, there's been a lot of people that have been wanting to see what Tevin can do, and I thought we were going to get that on Saturday, just because I didn't think, after being banged up all week, being questionable for that game, and then having that injury, I didn't think he was going to be able to come back. But he goes into the tent for a couple minutes and comes out, and from all accounts, the great sideline reporter and the reporting she did during that game came out, ready to go, fist bumping everybody, saying, let's go, let's do this. And,
where's my helmet?
I mean,
let's go.
That's impressive. And I remember the game before that against USF, listening to the post game, and Dave was interviewing Coach Silverfield, and basically asked him about what happened with Seth, is how's he doing, yada yada yada. And Coach Silverfield basically said, I had to take his helmet away from him and say, look, you're not going back out there right now because, as much as you want to go back out there, we've got to, prioritize your health. We got to get you checked out. We got to make sure you're good to go before we put you back in there. And that Seth didn't want to hear any of that. He wanted to get back out there and play.
And they have to do it bound legally and then just morally you want to as well. But Johnny, when they take the helmet away and they hide it from them, they're not going back in. You can't hit the football field without the headgear on.
Oh yeah, you can't hit the field, man. When they take the helmet,
you're done.
You're done.
It's over. But no, a super tough guy, and has really shown it every step along the way. But let's go ahead and wrap up this hour and get to a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk college basketball. Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated. He'll join us next.
It doesn't matter if you're at the lake, if you're hunting, fishing, playing golf, or just playing around, Scooters Plus can hook you up with the mobility that you need. Scooters Plus has the largest vehicle and parts inventory in the Mid-South and the best service department. You can choose from ATVs, UTVs, golf carts, motorcycles, dirt bikes, trikes, scooters, and even electric bikes. Come in today to start or wrap up your holiday shopping with 25% down on Christmas layaways. Scooters Plus, 3425 Summer Avenue. Call Sam at 458-8843 or go online to scootersplus.us.
East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store. With 20 employees along with complete inventory of items, big to little, finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and Weber grills. And the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, even new keys with key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws, you need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has it. And they're just down the street at the corner of Quince and White Station.
Let's end this year with a bang with Gossett Mitsubishi's Mitsubishi Motors year-end sales event. You want huge savings? We Gossett. The awards keep coming for the world's first and best-selling plug-in hybrid SUV. 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. 420 total range and PGE. We Gossett at $299.96 a month. Plus, 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Buy for $26,850 or $379 a month. Plus, IIHS top safety pick in seat 7. 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander. $32,185 or $399 a month. All equipped with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want it, we Gossett. Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
PHEV PZ062,303 MSRP 44,355 84 months 500 military and conquest or loyalty rebate. Outlander RZ 006545 MSRP 33,185. Sport RU 001,004 MSRP 27,850. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous. Be sure to schedule your delivery for the next game at hogsfly.com or come visit us in the alley.
How long has it been since you heard the term being overstocked? Well, it's happened at Family Leisure. Yep. That means you get the savings, like select patio sets that are up to 50% off. If you need a play gym, you're in luck because they're also overstocked and start at under $2,000. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off of in-stock items. Saunas, massage chairs, arcades, even theater seating. Special financing is available with free delivery. Family Leisure is extending sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And if you need supplies to close up your pool for the winter, Family Leisure has them up to 30% off. It's been a while since you've heard of an overstock sale, but Family Leisure is right in the middle of one. Huge deals and a huge overstocked inventory. That means great savings for you. It's happening now at Family Leisure, Witten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Fill your game day cooler with the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Smooth, real brewed tea with a 5% kick of alcohol. Look for the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's still running pretty slow over here on 240 East from Perkins up to Bill Morris Parkway. It seems like it all got triggered earlier from a crash that we had on 240 going eastbound there just past 385. Traffic's on the increase even more in the last few minutes. Trying to get through that construction. Not as bad as it was yesterday, but it's busy nonetheless on 55 northbound between McLemore and South Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry gearing up for Black Friday. Go by and see them before then at 7525 Highway 64. That's Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, we got to talk college basketball, and joining us to do that, Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated. You can follow him on Twitter at CBB_Central. He joins us now. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. Last week when we talked to you, you were at the Barstool Invitational in Chicago. Last night, you were at the Champions Classic. What did you make of those two games last night in Chicago?
Yeah, great to be with you guys as always. It was a fun night. Duke, Michigan State, kind of a sloppy opener. Both teams despite bringing a lot back, I think finding who they are. Identity-wise, I think both teams are still struggling to get there. Michigan State's shooting was
One guy,
a big problem. And then on the Kentucky front, I mean, I thought Kentucky played incredibly well against Kansas.
Yeah,
I thought
I did too.
Their young guards were incredible. Kansas was clutch in the big moments. That's what you expect from a Bill Self team. That's what you expect from a team with 3 seniors and a junior on the floor. But I thought, to me, the story of the night at the Champions Classic was how good Kentucky can be when we get to January, February, March.
Yeah.
You said about the Duke-Michigan State game that they're finding things. Do you think John Shira is still finding things in that big seat in following the biggest shoes, the winningest coach in the history of the sport?
Yeah, I think he's still learning. I think the thing that has impressed me with Shire is I think he's approached it with a good deal of humility, and I think he's been willing to learn, willing to navigate things with these guys. I think they probably thought they'd be a little further along, but one thing Shire did say post-game is, like, they've changed a lot how they play despite bringing back 4 starters because they play Filipowski more as a center now. And I think the adjustment to that has probably been a little bit more drastic than people on the outside may have realized. And doesn't mean they won't be really good. I thought, they showed some really bright moments yesterday. I thought they played well against Arizona, well enough to win on Friday in a game that they lost a close one at Cameron. So certainly no mass alarm.
I think I might have lost Kevin there for a second.
Yeah, may have to reestablish with Kevin. I think we have. Johnny, give Kevin a call back. And somewhere in the city of Chicago, Bryant, there's about a 10, 11-year-old that if John Shira has the Duke run that Mike Krzyzewski had, if they go 3 straight Chicagoans as coach, he can be coach someday at Duke.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Krzyzewski did it for that run. Yep. Now John Shira is Chicago
right.
young. So there's a 10 or 11-year-old in Chicago that can be telling his buddies, I'm going to be the Duke coach someday.
And it could come true based on track record.
Wrong.
I mean, it really could. No, I mean, what John Shire's done, obviously he's still very young in his career, but you look at the off-the-court things, I think hasn't really missed a beat. And I think a lot of that comes with the logo and the name Duke, and I think that will translate on the court.
He looked. We got Kevin Sweeney back now. Kevin Sweeney, last night I thought John Shira looked more relaxed in that seat than he did at any point last year.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I think winning the ACC tournament last year was big.
Yeah,
yeah, right. I think that was a confidence booster of like, hey, we really accomplished something in year one. Yeah, we didn't win a national championship, we didn't go to a Final Four, but I think he has grown into it really, really well, and I think it's helped him to have some guys that he's coached already. I mean, going through this every single year with a new roster is really hard, and I think the fact that he has a little bit of continuity and just guys he knows how to get through to, I think helps.
It's going to be all he ever knew, though. I mean, the old guard like Izzo, Krzyzewski, even Cal, they're the ones that had to adapt on the fly to this new wave.
That is very true. But I think there's so much outside of basketball that he's learning right now as the head coach at Duke that just to have the continuity, I think probably really helps him. Now you're 100% right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, John Shire knew what to expect when he took this job or took any college head job. He's in his 30s. Like, this is where the game is going. But I think it's been nice for him to be able to look around and see faces that are familiar.
We'll go into that second game of the night, Kentucky and Kansas. A really fun game to watch. And you mentioned Kentucky earlier, but, I mean, despite the loss, I thought kind of a really fun team to watch in Kentucky and kind of a size mismatch. But I thought they, Adu Thiero, I thought stepped up really big with those 13 rebounds and shot the ball pretty well. But what kind of stood out most to you about this Kentucky team?
Yeah, like think about what it took for Kansas to beat a team of mostly freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah.
It took DeJuan Harris going 5 for 6 from 3. He's historically not a great three-point shooter. It took Hunter Dickinson going for 27 and 21 in a game that Kentucky didn't have most of its big, right? Guys who will be there later theoretically. And then it took DJ Wagner and Justin Edwards, their 2 star freshmen, shooting a combined 1 for 18 from the field, and it took Antonio Reeves missing 3 game-tying or leading threes in the final 2 minutes of the game, right? Like, all those things had to happen just for Kansas, the number 1 team in the country, to beat this Kentucky team, right? Like, I think the fact that they have as many weapons as they do with Dillingham and Shepard off the bench to combine for 31 points and to do it as efficiently as they did, that was really impressive to me. And, there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic with Kentucky. I think it's going to be a continued learning curve. I thought some of their late game possessions were shaky. I thought they didn't weather the storm well enough in the middle of that second half when Kansas went on that, I think, 21-4 run. But I certainly thought more positives than negatives. I wrote it in my SI piece. Like, there's no moral victories. It's Kentucky. Right. But, like, if there ever was a time for one, I feel like it was last night.
Is tonight for Louisville, the other team in the state of Kentucky. Is tonight versus Coppin State about as must-win
Plus 17.
as a November 15 game can be?
I don't think, like, most people realize how bad this Coppin State team is. Like, Coppin State very well may be the worst team in Division I. They lost by 45 points to Virginia Tech on opening night.
Ooh.
Like, Louisville losing this game would be, like, beyond the pale. I will say I've spoken to some people who have started to feel like an in-season move is increasingly likely with Kenny Payne. Some people have said it could happen as soon as next week after they play in New York City against UConn and Texas and Indiana in that doubleheader. Certainly if he loses to Coppin State, it will create some dialogue there. If he wins this game, I think if he doesn't get blown out over the weekend, he probably sticks around. But my feeling is that this thing does not have too much longer a lifespan.
Well, Kevin, you said that it would be kind of crazy if Coppin State won this game tonight, but what about just covering maybe like 17 points? How crazy would that be, theoretically, of course?
I mean, I wouldn't bet on Louisville to beat anyone by 17.
That's kind of where I'm at. I'm just fading Louisville at this point.
Not real American money.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's bad.
It's really bad. And I saw you quote tweeted something I think yesterday about their attendance, and they've been announcing what
the old scan count.
Over 10,000 for the first game, maybe
Who
flip-flopped 11,000, 10,000, and really it was about 5,000 for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where the pressure comes in,
right?
Is that at some point it becomes untenable to keep this thing rolling. I honestly think one of the biggest things that could slow down the process is figuring out what an interim situation looks like. Because, Danny Manning has done it before. As I understand it, there have been some kind of discussions there about, okay, if we had to do this, what would Danny do it again? I'm not sure that Danny Manning wants to do it again. So then is it Nolan Smith? Is it someone else? Is there someone from the outside, which is obviously a rare situation? So it's a tricky situation to navigate. But, when you've lost the fan base in this way and when you're losing, not just losing, but losing in embarrassing fashion, right? They were blown out by a Chattanooga team that's not very good. Like, Chattanooga is not a special basketball team this year. They are a mid-pack SoCon school. That can't happen.
No.
And it has just happened time and time again under Kenny.
And Kevin, we have seen it before with coaches when the school starts releasing soul versus scan versus actual fannies in the seats. They're usually feeding that to the media for a reason to build that case of, look, see, nobody's really showing.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I think there was an attempt at Louisville to defend Kenny and to rally around him heading into year two.
Yeah.
But Kentucky Wesleyan plus Chattanooga has made that age relatively poorly here.
Yeah, Kentucky and Wesleyan. That's just a bridge too far for those fans. Kevin Sweeney with us from College Basketball Central and Sports Illustrated. Next Wednesday, we're going to be off carrying college basketball, Kevin. So we got to talk about the battle for Atlantis next week. Memphis Tigers in that bracket. Arkansas, they potentially could meet. We think they will meet on Thursday afternoon, 1:30 Central Time. That's if the Tigers get past the Wolverines and Arkansas gets past the Cardinal. How do you think that tournament plays out? North Carolina in the top of the bracket with UNI, Villanova, and Texas Tech, and at the bottom of the bracket, those two teams, those two games I mentioned. How do you think it plays out in Atlantis?
I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the, kind of particularly interesting thing here is that Michigan has played so well to start the year, right? I mean, Michigan, coming into the year, it was like maybe this is a tournament team. They got all these new faces. Right now, they're playing as well as anyone I've watched. I mean, Doug McDaniel's been tremendous. So you add another potential top 20 team into this field that already features Memphis coming off of a good win against Mizzou, Arkansas, who started strong and beat Purdue in that exhibition. Texas Tech has looked strong. North Carolina has passed its test early. So, I mean, it's going to be a battle. I'm really excited for it. I think the athleticism and experience that both Arkansas and Memphis carry, and I think North Carolina to a certain extent as well, I think those help them in a tournament setting. But I really think it's wide open, and I wouldn't be surprised with how Michigan is playing if they just rip through it and win the whole thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good point. I think here locally, obviously, with our distance and connection with Arkansas, I think everyone is hoping for that Memphis-Arkansas matchup, but Michigan has looked really, really good to start the season. But for the Tigers, last Friday they go on the road to a sold-out Mizzou Arena and beat Missouri with a massive second half where their defense really stepped up, held Missouri to about 19% from the field. What'd you make of that second half performance by the Tigers to win a big road game early in the season?
Yeah, it was impressive, right? And I think part of that's the experience factor for them. I think you saw their ability to defend. I think you saw the depth on display. I thought Jordan Brown made a real impact. Quinterly played well. To me, I'm probably a little bit lower on Mizzou. I thought watching that game, I saw some things I will poke holes in with that Missouri team, and a team that I already was probably a little lower on. I think the future with Dennis Gates super bright, but I don't think this is a tournament team this year. But we've talked about it already that it's very important for Memphis to stack wins that might mean something early in the season, and for them to do that, particularly after taking an early punch and going down, I think double digits early, if I'm not mistaken.
14.
To flip that thing and win as comfortably as they did was a really impressive showing.
What's been you were very impressed with Kentucky in defeat. What's been your favorite game win so far this year, and maybe a player that a lot of us aren't familiar with? Keep on the radar as we'll learn more and more about him.
Yeah, I mean, I just mentioned on the player side, Doug McDaniel from Michigan. Yeah. He is electrifying. I mean, everyone wants elite guards in college basketball, and it's just hard to find them because they move up to the NBA so quickly. Doug might be that, and he might be that for multiple years because he's so undersized. I mean, he kind of reminds me of like that Frank Mason, Marquise Noel, like that little point guard that could. And he has been a revelation for this Michigan team. He'll be a fun guy to watch during Feast Week. I really, really thought that the Arizona Duke game lived up to the hype. Like I didn't think Duke played poorly. I was just so impressed by both sides there. I thought Kylan Boswell at point guard just played such a tremendous floor game in one of his first big tests for Arizona. That game was awesome. And then I was up in Madison for Tennessee, Wisconsin on Friday, and I was really just that was a really high level basketball game. Tennessee with Dalton Knecht continues to really look the part of a team that can really make noise and just so much improved on the offensive side of the ball compared to where they've been the last several years.
Yeah. Well, Kevin mentioned it when we first got you on last week when we talked to you. You were at the Barstool Invitation getting ready for a pair of games, and one of those games including top 10 ranked FAU, Florida Atlantic, which a team that the Tigers will see twice this season in conference play. What were your takeaways from their showing last week against Loyola Chicago?
Yeah, I thought they lived up to the hype of a top 20 team, Not sure I see top 10 still, but you know, they just have such a connectedness on the floor that is really, really impressive to watch. They're so integrated defensively in terms of what they need to do. They really get up into you with their ball pressure, with their guards. They've got multiple weapons. I mean, yesterday they scored 100 points and their best player scored 1.
Yeah.
Right? Like Elijah Martin's still coming off the bench, finding his footing. John L. Davis had a somewhat quiet start. That was the same way against Loyola. But they just have so many weapons, and their 7-footer Vlad Golden is off to a tremendous start, which I think is so huge for that team, particularly moving up in weight class into the American, playing some of these big non-conference games as well, like Illinois and Arizona. They need an interior presence that can hang. Golden really struggled in that Final Four game last year. He looks like he's really raised his game, and if he has, it will make a huge difference, I think, for this FAU team.
Yeah.
Kevin, on Sunday, this coming Sunday, I know you'll be up bright and early watching. We have a 9:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. Central tip, a 10 a.m. Central tip, an 11 a.m. Central tip, and then a bunch of other 11s, 11:30s, 12s into the afternoon. On Monday, you have this. You have a game from the Gulf Coast Showcase, a Cayman Islands Classic game, a Jacksonville Classic game, a Sunshine Slam, a Paradise Jam, another Sunshine Slam, a Fort Myers tip-off game, another Cayman Islands Classic, another Gulf Coast Showcase, another Jacksonville Classic game. You got Tennessee and Syracuse and Maui, and that's all by 2 o'clock Central Time on Monday.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a great time of year to have games going on during the day. Bad for productivity, great for fans. And so, look, I'm really excited for Feast Week. Obviously, Maui and Battle for Atlantis will carry a lot of the attention, and rightfully so. I mean, those two fields are loaded. Maui almost historically loaded, but to have some daytime hoops here. I mean, this weekend we'll get to see St. John's and Rick Pitino in a tough field. Houston get tested.
Yeah.
Just a few of the teams we'll see in those South Carolina tournaments. One in Myrtle Beach, one in Charleston. So. It certainly keeps things interesting and fun, and it makes life a little easier for me instead of having all the games stacked up at 7 o'clock every night.
And Reese Davis had a great line last night. He hosted the college football playoff reveal, and when he was throwing it back to Dan Schulman and Jay Billis back in Chicago, he had a good line. College basketball, let's go back out to Chicago to college basketball. And you can keep up with both sports at the same time. You can enjoy college football and college basketball. There's no rule preventing it.
It's true. I mean, look, no one's expecting the casual sports fan who watches every college football game and every NFL game to also watch every college basketball game.
Right.
But we've got a chance to see some unbelievable matchups here over the next couple weeks, and I think everybody should want to be along for the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really gets going tomorrow. I think we've got a handful of early games tomorrow as well, so it will be a ton of fun.
We talked to you again the 29th, Kevin. How many in-person games will you rack up in the next 2 weeks?
Not as many as usual, because the MTEs, one's in the Caribbean, one's in Hawaii. It's not as easy to justify an island trip. So I'll be in New York this weekend for the Empire Classic, see 4 games at MSG. I'll see 2 or 3 more over the following Thanksgiving weekend, and then early the following week I'll get to, I think, probably 1 before I catch with you guys. So I'll be at 14, I think.
That's not bad.
No, not at all.
That's a game a day, and it's a New York trip thrown in there at the holidays.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
We're pacing it as best we can.
That's right. Well, it should be a lot of fun. It's going to be a ton of fun to watch
Thank
it
you,
all.
Kevin.
Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. And like we said, we won't talk to you next week, but in 2 weeks, we'll talk some more college basketball.
Thank you, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. And to you and yours as well. Thank you so much. And the very real specter of either, maybe both, 2 weeks from today, Arkansas and Memphis in a top 15.
You're right about that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Sure could happen.
It really could. And Brett, you said it, but why wait till Sunday? Tomorrow, 7 games before 4 p.m. So Ari
Why
started.
wait till Sunday?
First game at 10:30 tomorrow morning. The Myrtle Beach Invitational. I love it.
I love these tournaments.
Also love the names of them. I mean, the
I do too.
Sunshine Jam, the
Yeah.
Summertime Slam. I mean, they're great names.
Yeah, they are, and it's a lot of fun. And with the various broadcast teams, you got broadcast teams spread hither and yon. I mean,
everywhere.
And I know, like at Ole Miss, just about everybody in college sports now, it's Learfield. The Tigers are.
Sure.
Ole Miss, Arkansas, just about everybody. And those people say that there's 2 months where they live at Network Central.
I believe it.
November and March.
Oh, yeah.
March with all the basketball, but also the baseball.
Baseball, that's right.
And maybe a spring football game or two in March. Those people just live there for it, but that's what we live for. That's what we do.
That's right, and it's a fun time of the year to consume it all and watch it all. It doesn't get much better.
It's the life we chose,
That's
and
right.
I'm glad we did. Hewlett & Dunn, they're our title sponsor this hour. They wish everyone a happy holiday season. Please come out to the Collierville Square and just take a look at how just perfect it is. It is what you imagine the holidays being about, whether it's for Thanksgiving or the Christmas holidays. It's just such a scene on the historic square in Collierville. That's where Hewlett & Dunn, that's where they're located. It's where they've been since 1961. Charles Hall, he didn't start working there in 1961, but he's seen a lot of great holidays there, starting there in his teens, and now with his wife, Laura. What a great team they are. They own the place, known for all the boots, but so much more, all the clothing, the accessories, the jackets, the caps for any team, for any season, and decorated for the holidays. They want you to come by and visit, enjoy the merriment with them. Western wear, work boots, safety toe boots, soft toe boots, rubber boots, boots for every occasion at Hewlett & Dunn. From head to toe, they've got you covered with every name brand you can imagine, like Anderson Bean, Dan Post, Ariat. Whether it's for men or for women, they've got it covered. Men's and women's clothing, jeans, pants, shirts, shorts, jackets, those Filson jackets, the right gift for this time of year. This is jacket buying season, outerwear, and the best duckhead collection you'll find. Charles and Laura Hall invite you to 111 North Center Street, or go to hewlettdunn.com, but better yet, come by and visit on the square in Collierville. Sunglasses, hats, boot care products, and every area team snapback cool hat you can think of. Perfect for Tiger Lane on Saturday with the Tigers, for Mississippi State against Southern, for Tennessee hosting the Georgia Bulldogs, last home game in Oxford for Ole Miss against ULM, and the Razorbacks with 2 more in Fayetteville, but also basketball and baseball season on the way. Travel bag selection, top notch. They have it at Hewlett Dunn. Go to hewlettdunn.com, but please visit and say hello at 111 North Center Street on the square in Collierville at Hewlett & Dunn.
Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just 1 pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
All 36-month lease, $650 acquisition fee must finance through Hyundai. Forte LXS PE 694,095, MSRP 21,610. Sportage R722, 7239, MSRP 28,715. EVP 560, 3393, MSRP 50,200. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2023 with approved credit dealers.
Got Jeff Allen here from Gossett Kia, South Mount Moriah. Hey, Jeff, you ready for the holidays with the season of giving back?
I'm ready to give out some great holiday gifts and save you some big bucks. Perfect for the holiday road trips. 41 MPG highway in a new 2023 Kia Forte LXS $229 a month. $27.99 due at sign. signing, or a big family that needs more room? 2024 Kia Sportage LX with class-leading cargo room and rear seat leg room, $299 a month, $34.99 due at signing.
What about an EV?
2023 Kia EV6 Wind, 134 city, 101 highway, MPGE, $379 a month, $49.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease.
Plus a free charger with your EV purchase and Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
The way they live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family-friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings & Grill.
At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll find only spectacular natural diamonds that will remain treasured for generations. That promise is now symbolized by the engraved Sissy signature and sapphire, representing our guarantee of extraordinary service, selection, experience, and quality. Stop by any of our stores or visit sissyslogcabin.com and experience the Sissy's promise for yourself. Find a jeweler for a lifetime, only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South sports station.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It seems like it took forever to try to clean up that wreck on 240 eastbound, right at the Quince Road overpass. That's right there past Bill Morris Parkway. It's made things slower than normal this afternoon out here on 240 east from Perkins to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. It's really heavy now with that volume on 40 eastbound from Sycamore View Road all the way out to Germantown Parkway. Starting to build again over here on I-40 up by Warford and Hollywood. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry's gearing up for the holiday season. Go by and see them before Black Friday gets here. They've got some sales going on there at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Times. We got about 30 minutes left in today's show, and we got to get to what's trending. And Brett, I saw earlier today, I've been saving it to talk about it. According to On3, Bo Nix is now the leader for the Heisman Trophy. According, this is per BetMGM, he is minus 110 as the Heisman favorite. Behind him, Michael Penix Jr. at plus 375, Jaden Daniels at plus 400, and Marvin Harrison Jr. rounding out the top four at plus 550. So, Bo Nix, leader in the clubhouse right now.
He is, and he's got, looks like on paper, a pretty easy game this week against Kenny Dillingham's Arizona State Wildcats. And I tell you, the year that Kenny Dillingham has had, just fighting and scrapping to get to 3-7 with no incentive to play. They pulled the rug out from under him before the season started on the bowl. I think he's done a great job with his team out there. And if he's like a lot of people, if he can get his NIL right. And if Arizona State can kind of department-wide get their act right, I think he can win there. So Bo Nix has Arizona State this week and then the big one against Oregon State next week. But Oregon State, they have a real big one this week, and the lawsuit that Oregon State and Washington State, they won yesterday. Don't laugh at the two-pack anymore.
No. I mean, that was huge yesterday.
It was. Those other Heisman odds, Jaden Daniels would have my vote if I had to do it right now. But there's a lot of play left. He's not going to do much, I don't think, statistically against Georgia State. I don't think Bo Nix would do a lot against Arizona State. So that's kind of a push for them. There's Michael Penix though. I don't count him out just yet because he's got a big game this week and next week and potentially a Pac-12 championship game. He's got Oregon State on the road. If he went 4-3-20, they win thrilling style on the road in Corvallis, and then he backs it up next week with Apple Cup win and a win in Pac-12 championship game, that would have to adjust my thinking.
I think so. I mean, that would probably put him a little bit ahead, wouldn't it? I mean, that's a couple impressive games against high-quality competition.
I love the Michigan quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. He's there to really shine. Maybe even Blake Corum, although I think it's tougher for a running back these days. Even the Florida State quarterback. I don't count Jordan Travis completely out. I don't think he's in the consideration of some of those others though.
No. I mean, I think there's a good maybe 5 or 6 guys that I think are legitimately in that conversation. And I think you just named pretty much all of them. And I think that's a good group of guys. I mean, I think especially those top 4.
I think that's where your winner comes from.
Yeah, and I think that top 4 is, like you said, where the winner comes from, and that's pretty good group of guys.
And the debate, and I think it's worth having, it's certainly a discussion worth having, is the winning quotient. Did Jaden Daniels' team win enough? But now the charge from the Heisman Trust, and there's real exact language. It is for the best player in college football. If conceivably, if that best player was on an 0-12 team, I don't think it would really be that. But and we know of the Paul Hornung case a million years ago, going 2-8 at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame had a lot to do with that. And the voters then, it was very limited. It was a lot of East Coast, Midwest, Notre Dame bias. It's really changed since then. Right. But I don't think it should just be soup of the day for best player on best team.
No, I don't think at all. And, we've had that conversation a lot. I think, you need to look and kind of look at the talent out there because, like you said, I don't think Jaden Daniels, who has put together an unbelievable season, I mean, you watch him play, he's clearly the best player on LSU, one of the best players in the SEC.
Awestruck.
I mean, it's incredible.
I left knowing I don't see that very often.
No.
Now it was when he was at Auburn, and I haven't seen Bo Nix this year at Oregon, but I've seen Bo Nix play.
Brett, is it bad that I shouldn't say I don't want him to win. I would rather somebody else win Heisman just because of his ad
the
campaign
bodacious campaign,
the bodacious. Everywhere I look, I see a bodacious ad. I'd prefer him not to win it at this point.
Well, that's Oregon and that's Nike,
true.
and we know their influence.
Oh yeah.
And I saw a poll released of the best facilities in the country. Oregon wins that in every one of them.
It's unbelievable.
People say you just cannot imagine. And then you go into that room or department that they have.
Oh, man.
And we think we've seen all these uniform combos. They got a million more.
No chance, yeah. It's incredible. And, I mean, when you got that money coming down, when you are the Nike school, I mean, whew.
But isn't it time for Phil Knight to cash it in football or basketball? I know their prowess in track.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. but in the two big ones, they've been close. They've been, some Final Four.
Yeah.
Our old buddy DB went to a Final Four
That's right.
at Oregon. I didn't get to this yesterday. I touched on it with Dave this morning, and I didn't get to it yesterday. But last weekend, some ratings numbers from sports.
Okay.
2.2 million viewers for College Game Day. It narrowly beat Big Noon, their pregame show, which is really good.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of flaws with College Game Day, but it still wins every week. Now, it is narrowed. And next year could be the year, and Colin Cowherd that precedes us, and he's out there with this, that he really believes next year it becomes a Big Ten world in college football.
Wow.
And it could. We've talked about the networks.
Yeah.
We've talked about the plan they have. And next year, but, I've been hearing about, the SEC getting knocked off for a long time, and I haven't seen it yet. But so 2.2 million viewers live from Athens, Georgia on a Saturday morning.
That's pretty good, Brett. It's pretty good.
Big Noon 1.9. To give you some context about those numbers, Friday night from the NBA with all that publicity, with that PR machine, heck, just with what ESPN does. And I've said, I think a lot of times, especially hot takery TV in the mornings, even the afternoon programming, it's almost like ESPN. We interrupt our NBA coverage because we got to give you some college football.
Well, it does seem like that sometimes. I mean, the shows.
Here's for you college football folks.
The countless segments they do on all their morning shows.
Unbelievable, the saturation of it, that I don't see the numbers meriting it. Friday night, Lakers-Phoenix.
That's a huge game.
Those markets, those stars, that built-in support. 1.9 million viewers. Couldn't beat Big Noon, couldn't beat Game Day.
Wow. Couldn't beat either of them.
Couldn't beat
wow.
An older man running around in a helmet and a meathead in a tank top.
And Brett, this is at 8 to 11 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday?
In Central Time. So 9 to 12 on a Saturday.
Man.
East Coast time, and even earlier for the left coast. So Friday night, Brooklyn and Boston from the NBA.
Okay, another good game.
Not exactly Athens and Oxford, is it?
No, not at all.
Drew 1.4 million.
Wow. So, I mean,
Ole Miss and Georgia on Saturday night. The game itself, not the preview show, but the game itself drew 5 million viewers.
I mean, completely blew them out of the water.
So, okay, I can hear the counter argument now. Well, they built it up all day in Georgia and Lane Kiffin, they got 5 million.
Okay.
To start the day at 11 o'clock Central Time.
Okay.
From Lexington, Kentucky, Alabama and Kentucky drew 2.7. So bigger than either of the NBA games on Friday night.
Wow.
But blown out by this number. Michigan and Penn State. 9 million. 9 million.
Whoa.
In the middle of the daytime on a Saturday afternoon, that's when college football is played.
That's incredible.
And with that, I would say to ESPN, and especially, and I think they have been notified, their next deal is not going to be the rights, sweetheart rights fee deal that they got last time.
No.
And Disney, ESPN, ABC has already told them there's going to be a lot less dates because they're getting ready to get the SEC.
Oh, yeah.
And I think programming and interest should parallel numbers.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. What else are you looking at?
This is what your audience is saying it
Exactly.
wants.
Yeah, I mean, you look down at the numbers and see who's watching win, right?
You could have a great Brussels sprouts restaurant. Let me tell you, Memphis barbecue is going to beat you every time.
Every single time. 10 times out of 10, 7 days a week. Yeah.
So you need to be giving them barbecue.
No, yeah. You don't need to be giving Brussels sprouts out.
We wouldn't eat them anyway.
No, I'd pass one. So, Brett, I did try salad the other day. I mean, just saying. I did
What'd
try
you
salad.
do that for?
I don't know. It was a little bit of a dare. I said, whatever. I'll take a bite. And I wasn't a fan. Not a fan of it at all. So
No, but that in last Friday night, that Duke Arizona college basketball game, a really good one.
Oh, man.
It drew 1.2 million.
Wow.
But it's early for college basketball.
Very early for college basketball. But those are some.
Now, on the promotion front, it doesn't get anything resembling college football promotion.
No, not at all.
I mean, college basketball is really kind of just live off the
Here
land.
you go.
Good luck, boys.
Here's the game.
See you when we put the big bracket up.
Yeah, literally. It's okay. Here's the game. You turn on. Oh, well, there's a game
Which
tonight.
I think
and then
that's
they'll throw
short-sighted.
like one thing in there.
I think that's short-sighted. And I go back to in Reese Davis' comments last night. We can do two things at one time. You can follow both sports.
That's really good.
It really is
from Reese Davis. Yeah.
And Brian, it was a long time ago. It was 10, 12, 13 years. It was a while ago that I really was on the outs with college basketball. Kissed and made up. I'm glad I did because I love it.
Yeah.
And that was resonating to me. It felt like he was speaking to me and kind of to us is you can do two things at one time. And you can keep up with it and you can enjoy both. Now, it limits your time of the day.
Well, only 24 hours, Brett, and you got to sleep for some of those.
Sleep's overrated. Tell you what's not overrated. We're talking about great barbecue, and we got it. We got it at two great places. At the commissary, the new Collierville commissary, Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. I know you think about somewhere to go eat right now. Go there, and you can in-house order for the Thanksgiving spread or for the Christmas spread. You can do that. The smoked turkey, the homemade cornbread dressing, gravy, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, green beans, rolls, butter, plates, utensils. That's a week from today. Right now, we're going to be going back for seconds for leftovers. I don't think there'll be anything left over from lunch. It's so good. Everybody's going to dive into it and gobble it up. Call right now. Still time to get on the list, 901-754-5540. And you can get the whole turkeys, you can get the ham, all the sides, gravy, dressing, sweet potato casserole, price point for everyone for whatever size you're going to have, however many people you're going to have. Free delivery for 50 people or more. The commissary takes care of you for that for sure. And I mentioned the Memphis style barbecue. You're going to have a lot of family, and people are going to start rolling in this weekend for extended stays. You know, there's always some of those around, isn't it? And you're going to want to get out, and you're going to go to either commissary, Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown for the ribs, for the shoulder, for all the sides, the appetizers like the barbecue nachos, the cheese plate, the tamales, the smoked chicken wings. The barbecue nachos invented, created here in the early 80s by Walker Taylor and his staff. 42 Thanksgivings for Walker Taylor and his staff at the commissary. They wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, a happy holiday season. 901-754-5540 or go online at commissarybbq.com.
Let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, folks. The Chevy Sheriff with good news for car and truck buyers. The Sunrise Chevy Ranch has new Chevy cars and trucks in stock, ready for immediate delivery. Factory rebates up to $1,000 and Sunrise discounts high as $4,000. Immediate financing available with interest rates low as 2.9. A $15 million used car inventory with cars and trucks for every budget, and a lot specializing in cars and trucks under $15,000. If you've been turned down by another dealer, see us at Sunrise. We specialize in financing, and Sunrise is the home of the guaranteed credit approval. Find new roads to the Sunrise Chevy Ranch, 385 in Houston, Levy, and Collierville.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Pizza lovers and sports fanatics, Ferraro's Pizzeria is your Sunday ticket headquarters. Catch every pro game on multiple big screen TVs while enjoying $2 beers, $9 beer buckets, and mouth-watering pizza. We're talking the cheesiest, most delicious New York pizzas in town with all your favorite toppings. What are you waiting for? Grab your family and friends and get to Ferraro's, corner of Jackson and Main, just east of the Pyramid. Enjoy every pro game at Ferraro's Pizzeria and Cheesy Corner, your game day destination.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
How long has it been since you heard the term being overstocked? Well, it's happened at Family Leisure. Yep, that means you get the savings, like select patio sets that are up to 50% off. If you need a play gym, you're in luck because they're also overstocked and start at under $2,000. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off of in-stock items. Saunas, massage chairs, arcades, even theater seating. Special financing is available with free delivery. Family Leisure is extending sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And if you need supplies to close up your pool for the winter, Family Leisure has them up to 30% off. It's been a while since you've heard of an overstock sale, but Family Leisure is right in the middle of one. Huge deals and a huge overstocked inventory. That means great savings for you. It's happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot & Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Baby, here I am, I'm a man.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, The Athletic is reporting that Major League Baseball will likely reduce the pitch clock to 18 seconds from 20 seconds with runners on base next year. Major League sources have confirmed to The Athletic. The league expects the change will shave an average of roughly 5 minutes off game times. I don't know why we need to go further than what we already are doing. I mean, I thought we tried this last year. Man. 5 minutes. Oh, that's huge. But I mean, we made this big change last year. Nobody was on board with it. I think as the season went on, more people were like, okay, it's really not as bad as we thought it would be. But now you're starting to shave more and more time off the clock. We saw, a lot of pitchers deal with injuries last year, and I think some of that has to do with the pitch clock. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But it looks like 20 to 18, such a big difference.
You just broke news to me. The Athletic is still in business?
That's right. The Athletic is still doing their thing. I saw it on Twitter. So
Major League Baseball giving them stories.
That's right.
What I learned, I'm afraid there are tough days ahead for the Memphis Grizzlies. Injuries are just too much to overcome. It's just too many coming at one time. And nobody could excel with this amount of injuries. So lay off Taylor Jenkins, everybody. One I wouldn't lay off of, Jaren Jackson. I just don't know that he's capable to handle this kind of load that's going to be put on him with all these injuries. He's very, very good. I know he's good. Nobody's doubting that. But he's in his 6th year, and I'm still hearing these words around him: precocious, raw, potential. Isn't that what, in the end, got Rudy Gay here with this market? Those words?
You're right. That's exactly what got him. And at what point does it go from potential and raw to kind of a finished
I don't want
product?
to see it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a very good point by you. What I could have done without Brett's the boxing match that broke out last night between the Warriors and I guess both our friends, the Warriors and the Timberwolves. I mean, we've had
And Oklahoma City had a good one.
Oklahoma City had a good one as well. We kind of got close to one in Lakers Grizzlies last night. But what happened in the Warriors Timberwolves game last night? We had 3 ejections. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Jaden McDaniels for the Timberwolves were all ejected before a basket was scored in that game last night. 1:43 seconds into the game, there was an altercation between Klay Thompson and Jaden McDaniels. They started going at each other out of nowhere. Draymond Green comes in out of nowhere and puts Rudy Gobert into a headlock. And I mean, it was crazy to watch it play out. I mean,
he neutralized Gobert.
I mean,
he put him in a sleeper hole.
It was incredible. And I mean, out of nowhere, I mean, you didn't even see him in the mix, and then out of nowhere, he's got Rudy Gobert in a headlock. I was going,
by the head.
Where did he come from? I mean, it was like some good old wrestling, Brett. I mean, it was a lot.
I didn't mind it at all. I thought Rudy Gobert inserted himself, Draymond, no Draymond Green defender.
No, you're not.
Here's what I'm worried about, though, and you already hear the NBA talking about clamping down on taunting. They don't want to, PR optics-wise, get to anything that could result in Kermit Washington. If you don't know who Kermit Washington was, it's the punch, Rudy T, long time ago. They can't handle that PR. And that's what I think they're scared of. And it's why I think Draymond Green's probably going to get penalized too severely.
Yeah, and I just heard during our break, Adrian Wojnarowski was on ESPN and said that what he has heard is expect an announcement on suspensions either tonight or tomorrow. Another quick thing that I could have done without this is breaking news just coming down from Brett McMurphy. The NCAA has denied waivers to make James Madison and Jacksonville State bowl eligible, meaning James Madison, more importantly, who's undefeated this year. They will not be able to play in the Sun Belt title game, and the only way they would be able to make a bowl game is if there are not 82 bowl eligible teams. We talked about that earlier. It doesn't look like there's going to be 82 bowl eligible teams, so hopefully they'll still be able to make a bowl game, but it probably would not be the same tier of bowl games they'd be able to make if they
just simplify things. NCAA,
exactly. If they were conference champions and undefeated, they'd go to a much better bowl game than what they'll probably go to now.
Biggest group of fun fighters ever, the NCAA. I could have done without the Deshaun Watson injury news, but I think P.J. Walker will be okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's got some game experience under his belt this season playing for
played this year.
Cleveland. Yeah, so you might be right. Where are you beaming tonight?
Maction, Ohio Bobcats hosting Central Michigan. Never seen either one in person. Wonder if Connor Stalions will be at the game. He's been everywhere. It's almost like Connor Stalions had his own personal beaming machine.
I mean, it really seemed like it at some point. And my favorite thing now is a lot of teams are kind of making fun of the whole situation, and they'll put somebody in the stands in Michigan garb, and
everybody's
they'll have
having fun.
A Where's Connor Stalions cam.
Where are you going?
Beam me tonight. Why not? Let's go to one of these college basketball games. I'm going to throw a wild one at you. Actually, it's not wild at all. Coppin State at Louisville.
Must win for U of L.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought that a Coppin State versus Louisville game would be a
and
must
win for a coach? How great is it to say it? Must win for U of L.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Too bad. Too bad, Cardinals.
I mean, Brett, go back 2 or 3 years ago and tell yourself, hey, in 3 years, Coppin State versus Louisville is going to be a must-win for a Louisville head coach.
Too funny. 8 NBA games tonight. Celtics at Philly, one of the highlighted games. And Minnesota at Phoenix, a good game.
Yeah, no, some really good games tonight, some really good action all across with NBA, college football, college basketball, a little bit of everything. We're not getting kind of the marquee games we got last night in college basketball, but I do think there are some fun games tonight for sure. Well, that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Here at Memphis Barbecue Supply, we have everything you need for your Thanksgiving feast. If you're smoking, deep frying, or putting that turkey in the oven, we got over 20 different turkey injections and brines to keep your meat juicy and moist, with brine bags and buckets, and 308 different rubs and sauces to choose from. If you're in need of fuel, Memphis Barbecue Supply carries 9 different types of wood chip, chunk, mini logs, and logs of wood, and over 4 tons of wood pellets in stock. And don't worry, we also carry thermometers, injectors, and all other sorts of gadgets that you might need to simplify your cook. And for any questions that you might have, our knowledgeable staff is always eager to help. Memphis Barbecue Supply is located at 7041 Stage Road in Memphis, or you can order online at mbbqsupply.com. Follow us on all the social media platforms for recipes, new products, and barbecue news.
Grizz Nation, it's go time. Catch your Grizzlies this Sunday at 7 p.m. when they take on Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. Get hyped. Get ready for a star-studded show and secure tickets today by calling 901-888-HOOP or visiting Grizzlies.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.